Hey Skyfarers, and welcome to Aethercast, the Kharadron Overlords channel and podcast, where today we're talking about basically everything that has happened recently. The GHB, the FAQ, all the new stuff that's changed everything, basically. To help me talk about that and discuss everything, we are joined by our trees herd for the Garden of Nurgle, Mr. Matt Parker.
How's it going, everybody? Thanks for having me on again, Lee. Really excited.
Thanks for coming on the show, Matt. And we are joined by our Dwarden Prime, Max Bowman.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm excited to talk about everything that has happened. So we're going to see a full Skaven, Sylvaneth, Nighthaunt, and Gods of Cain review tonight. Hopefully.
No.
That's what you promised.
No,
everything.
Everything. Oh, everything related to KO. And
well, we need to play against them, so you should know your enemies.
Well, yes, but that's too long of a show. We haven't got 12 hours. And joining us for a show where he hasn't got to just do all of the talking for the whole show, he actually gets to relax for a bit. Marcus Fredrickson, welcome back, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And yeah, it's nice to have a laid-back role, sitting here listening, and let's have some fun with some deep diving.
Yeah, cool. You still do have to do some talking, just see it.
Well, I'll have some input.
Yes, and if it's become a regular thing, I have to think of a catchy rank / role for you on the ship.
Review Big
like
Mac.
Big Mac. The Big Mac. There was something Kharadron Overlords related, like the Navigator or something. Suggestions in the chat.
He's the drunk navigator in the crow's nest.
Yeah. I was thinking about thinking about drunken admiral, but we were having admiral. I don't drink alcohol though, so that's the problem.
Oh well, well. Insert foot directly in mouth.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's see. Well, we gotta think about that.
Yeah. Suggestions in the chat if you're watching live and you've got some ideas for what we can call Marcus. Welcome to Jay Durfee and Flying Dutchman in the chat. If there's anyone else in the chat, I think there's about 9 people watching. So yeah, say hi.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friend. Tell your friends, because 9 people's not many. Cool. So lots of stuff has happened. Before we go into some details, how is everyone feeling about the new GHB and the FAQ and basically how KO sits in the meta now? Are you happy?
Well, I'm happy that the army and the disembarking and embarking actually functions like it's supposed to, unlike how it has for the last however many months since 3rd edition came out and they rewrote the garrison rule. So it's exciting just to be able to use my toys the way they were meant to be used. So
yeah, overall, I think in the first year of 3rd edition, I was not feeling too confident with KO, just due to a few problems, not having monsters, all that shenanigans. We do not profit much. We'll get into more detail later. Profit much from the new battalions and shenanigans, but I think shooting, and especially KO shooting, has a place in the meta.
Well, I thought KO was pretty good in the last edition, but that's because I probably took a lot of help from other factions. But I agree that the new FAQ it actually adds a thing we didn't have in 2.0 as well, that you can actually move after you get out.
Mm-hmm.
So that opens up some play, but it's going to be interesting to see where we're heading now in the new edition. Oh, new season, or like with the changes. I mean, all buffs are good buffs. So let's say that.
Isn't this weird that this is season 1, by the way? Like, shouldn't this be season 2? Like, the first one was the Gur Battle Pack, and then this is like season 1. So what was
season 1?
Really? This is season 1 for 2022. So that's 2020. They're going to do 2 books a year now.
We'll see another book at Christmas.
Wait, really?
Yeah, 6 months. Yeah,
like
40K.
And we'll see a quarterly update with like these battle scroll things.
I would actually like to add that's actually a bit of a nerf for us, because I felt like when that thing hit, that was actually a pretty decent buff for KO, since we were in my opinion, we weren't horrible. We were pretty good, and the big threats we scored a lot of extra points against, so we could play a little bit of a different game, especially on some battle plans, like Gargans, for instance. You could just play killing them instead of focusing on objectives. So I think that the hunt is over is a bit of a nerf for us, quite a big nerf actually.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm still confused on the season 1, season 2 bit. So
Well,
no,
It's 'cause
actually,
you're-
yeah,
it's 'cause you're American.
yeah, they're gonna sell more books to us, basically.
yes.
I mean, they sold us this book, and the little printed booklet with the points was mute the day it came out.
Right.
So
right, because they gave that to you in a free PDF. It's just I thought the previous Gur battle pack was like season 1, right? Like
no,
whatever.
I don't know. And then they have the other ones, the narrative ones, the Fondia ones, which has match play rules with the incarnate. So
No,
yeah,
that's
there's a lot of stuff.
Well, that's like a separate battle pack. So you have the Gur battle pack. Now you have the previous battle pack. You have the Thondia battle pack, and then you have this.
Yeah,
so you
it's
can
so
like pick and
much.
choose. There was actually a local RTT that just used exclusively the Thondia rules, which was quite good. And Kyle did really well in that tournament. So yeah, interesting.
So you're saying he's a narrative player?
Absolutely, I'm saying that Kyle is a narrative-focused Age of Sigmar player.
Well done, Kyle.
Just like Lee.
See, I'm much
Is
more
he-
I'm much more
he's
comfortable
using-
criticizing him, but when he's not on the show to defend himself.
Lee is a narrative player when he's losing, but when he's winning, he says his comp.
Yeah.
So, one
So
of-
mostly a narrative
game-
player.
yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
I do
mostly
more
narrative.
losing than winning. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, I echo most of that. I'm fairly happy that we can get out the boat now. Would have preferred they did the FAQ in a different way. But we'll get into that in more detail later.
Please not.
No, or well, basically, I just wish they had errated it rather than just answered a question, which was a bit. Yeah,
100%.
But as Games Workshop, we got to accept what we get. We got
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
at least.
let's be thankful for what
Like
we got. Yeah.
it took a year, so I would have thought it would have been more thought through. But
Honestly,
yeah,
like 2 days before print, they just realized we still have these unanswered questions here in the
Yeah.
drawer. Oh, come on, let's just write something.
yeah,
I am
I mean,
grateful that Rules Daddy gave us some attention, but yeah,
I mean-
maybe it could have been a little bit more clear.
I mean, like, at least when it comes to FAQ, it's not like when they do points and they just throw darts, because we know they do that.
Well,
Uh,
we'll get onto the points in a minute, but I think they have
Yeah,
thrown some darts for us.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
think they do that for every army. Like, if you look at different stuff, like, oh,
But, I mean,
you-
let's be honest.
Yeah.
Moving after leaving the ship, that's more than I expected.
Yeah.
yeah, that's actually. That's
So
actually
I'm not sure how much thought they gave to it.
Mhm.
Problem is, in some ways, we do benefit it. Of course, it's good. It's really good, but it's not like it's amazing. That's gonna break the game.
I'm gonna tell you a few secrets.
Right.
Well, I know there are a few secrets, but it's you can slingshot a lot. But
Mhm.
Mhm.
Little Ender Masters with the what they call the shot gauntlets that no one ever used.
yeah,
Now
Yeah,
you can use
they are
them.
actually useful now.
Now you
yes.
can actually charge with the Ender
Yeah.
Master.
I mean, it's really good for things like as we like slingshotting stuff, and we're gonna discuss it more later. But it's gonna open up some place for sure. Like,
Yeah.
Jay
They're gonna
Durthu
help
has
us
a
with
great Jay Durthu in the chat has a great comment that's going to be really relevant. I was going to say a little bit later when we talk about the different battalions, but it's just such an excellent point.
well, yeah, bounty hunter system. Everyone knows that.
Yeah. So for anyone listening in the future that can't see the screen well, but basically his comment is mostly happy with the FAQ and the GSP, but bounty hunters is a complete mess, especially with the fact you can put battle line monsters in it. And that was also going to be the other point I was going to make was the two biggest changes from the new GHB, I think, are the battalions. I don't think they affect us massively. Like, at least not as much as other armies.
They affect us in the negative way.
Yeah, in a negative way. Yeah.
That we get,
I mean,
hurt
like-
more.
Yeah.
Sure, you can put 10 Arcanauts. You can put Arcanauts like MSU stacks into the expert
Conquerors.
conquerors,
Yeah.
but bounty hunters is just it's just a mess. Like, we don't benefit much from it at all, as you said. But there are some ways you can benefit from it, but it's not going to be worth taking to it. And as we said, it's just a mess. Like, what were they thinking? Like, you can't even choose to be a Galletian veteran, and like every battle line that's not more than 4 wounds is one, or it has a mount. So like, Sky Wardens or Endrin Riggers are always, if you have a durable suit, they're always going to be battle line, and they're always going to take extra damage from those hunters. So it's and we don't have any good units that will benefit from the buff. That's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, because it's all melee. That's the issue.
Yeah.
But maybe we're jumping ahead, Lee.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I was about to say we're starting to get into details a bit. So, yeah, we'll move on. Before we do, there have been some comments recently about audio. Hopefully, I think I fixed it. The guys said I sound better than I did 20 minutes ago. But yeah, if you still think it sounds bad, let us know in the chat or in the comments later. Or if you think it's better, please don't.
Put a little gold star next to the USB port that you plugged into, because this is the real hero of the show right now.
Yes, switch USB ports and it's made a big difference. Cool.
Matt also, we have Matt, Max, and Mac. How are people gonna cope?
Yeah, I don't know.
Just funny because everybody in my personal life calls me by my last name, Barker. Like even my wife calls me Barker, doesn't call me my first name. So it's funny to actually hear people call me by my first name.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to do that because I will not get used to it. I'm sticking with Matt. I can't change things.
Poor Lee feels left out from the M Club.
Yeah.
Well.
Cool.
No worries.
Details then. Dagnay Oldenstock. No changes. You know, would have been nice to see him get some points now that Curse City's available again, but obviously not.
Yeah. I mean, he's a nice alternative admiral.
Primo model. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's that. Navigator.
Hey,
what
my
the dark
homie!
bro?
Happy face.
Yeah.
That's kind of a winky.
Bullseye.
I don't know why it's like winky.
They accidentally hit him on the dartboard.
Yes, they hit.
My initial reaction to this was, okay, sure,
yes,
thank you.
It's our best. One thing though, like two things. It's the best unit in our book, in my opinion. But I think there's going to be a few. There's always going to be flying units like Night and so now as well, and monsters. But it's going to be a little bit less of those. So I think like his double navigator is still going to be super good, but it's not going to be like 95% of the games that you will be able to use it as well as you have before. Because I think you're going to see some drop in monsters. But
you know why
85 points is like nothing.
I think that the reason that why they lowered the points is they want to give you a cheap access to dispelling and unbinding.
Yeah, they don't think about the debuff, which is
no, they didn't. They thought about the endless spells being everywhere now. To have
also
some
he has amazing artifacts if you want to as well.
Yeah, definitely.
He has the Voidstone Orb now, which is also very relevant now.
Yeah,
my
of course,
my first thought was, wow, all of my lists just went down 20 points because every single one of my every
Mine
single
went down
one.
40. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you include the next slide, I'm sure. But my first two selections on War Scroll Builder are Navigator every time.
Yeah, same.
Cool. So we've alluded it to already, but Arkanauts. Another happy face.
The lads.
Yeah. Because we're one of the few armies where they are the only battle line without ifs.
But
it's only the one.
They're probably the best 90 points battle line in the game, though.
With 90 points, they're pretty good. Yes, I agree. But I think this was like a kind of okay, you only have this as generic battle line. You only have one choice. Okay, let's make it a bit cheaper.
But we'll take it.
Obviously, I'll take it. 90 points is great, but
it's a funny.
I can't.
It's a funny thing with arcs that in some ways they've got better. They've got cheaper, better, but they've also got worse at the same time. And we'll cover that a bit in a minute.
Oh yeah, sorry.
But yeah, on the face of it, points drops good. I mean, especially if you're running 3 of them as battle, that's 30 points drop.
Plus the double navigator is 50.
Yeah, so that's 50. So yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's all the points changes for KO. There
but
wasn't.
were there some points that you wished for? Some changes?
Thunderous.
Question.
Yeah.
Yes,
Uh,
yes,
Thunderous.
yes. Like, why? Why are they so expensive for how
Because
little
Hearthguard
they do?
Berserkers are even more expensive.
But Hearthguards are better.
Yeah.
In
What
melee,
they
yes.
do. Yeah.
Hearthguard Berserkers are also come in a faction that has much better allegiance abilities.
Mhm.
Allegiance abilities, yes. Yeah.
The frigate I would have liked to have seen gone down, but actually
Gunholder too.
maybe with the FAQ, it's kind of it did get a
But
bit
it's-
better
No,
anyway. in
it's
some
too
ways.
expensive.
250 is too much for a stupid
Yeah.
boat. That
I
doesn't
think-
really does much shooting.
I
In
think
a-
Ironclad is fine now with a new FAQ. I think it's
Mhm.
fine at 490 with FAQ, so it's good that it
No.
gone down. Poor Brock could have gone down a little bit again.
Yeah, Brock is a lost case.
But Brock needs a war scroll.
Yeah.
Brock needs like I don't know. a
But
new
Admiral
book.
stayed the same, and that's actually a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have seen him going up, and I hope for Thunderers and the Gunholders to go down.
Yeah.
Like
It drives
10,
me
5, 10
crazy.
points, something.
It drives me crazy in a world where Pascoa Blight Lords are 220 points. The Arcanaut Frigate is 250 points. Don't even get me started on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
How do you feel
that's
about the chemist?
Fine.
What is he? 90?
90.
Yeah.
Fine.
Because
He's 90 plus whatever endless spell you bring.
Yes.
No, I mean, yeah. I mean,
I must confess I have not used chemists for a while now.
Yeah. And this the thing is, I'm not likely to put one on this, and I don't know why he's more expensive than a navigator.
Oh, that is true.
Because he has the buff, the reroll ones to wound.
Yeah.
They
which
put
is
on their
potentially good.
blindfold when they were throwing the dart at the dartboard and they missed the target.
No, I can
completely.
see it. He's potentially good, and he gives a -1 to hit. Melee,
I mean,
so
for 90 points, it's not a bad hero.
is pretty
Yeah, it's
good.
not bad.
I mean,
I mean, to be honest, the
anything
navigator is
between
too cheap. Isn't
80 and 100 points for a character. I mean,
Yeah.
20 points. Who cares?
So,
Yeah,
That's
those
not
small
the
points.
that's
Yeah,
not
I
the
mean,
difference. So I think
even-
he's fine, and to have a difference between Navigator and Endremaster on foot is also fair because he can heal the boat. So yeah.
We actually, that's an interesting point, Max. We have, right, our cheap lords are now 85, 90, and 95. So we
Mhm.
actually have some wiggle room if we're really tight on points.
yeah.
If we want to fit one
Yeah.
extra lord in. So it's
Yeah,
not,
and
because before it was 90, 95, 95.
They used to be 100, all three of them,
Yeah.
in
Mhm.
second
No,
edition.
Endremaster and in Harlem was 105 for most of.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. So yeah, they actually got pretty cheap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, lords are cheap, and our battleline are cheap. It's just I feel like the free. If we don't think about Brock, because Brock is a lost case. It should be
Which is
Thunders
a shame.
first. Yeah,
It's just
Thunders is the
narrative.
one. Yeah, Thunders is the one that needs the most with a buff because it will affect them the most with the point drop. And then I would say Gunholder, and lastly now Frigate after the change, because I still think the Frigate's too expensive. It should be like 220.
Yeah, maybe we need to reconsider the frigate as it works as a
Yeah,
what
now
is
it actually works as a
troop
transport.
transport in 40k, like these little rhinos that you just push forward and then everyone
Mhm.
jumps out. So you're paying for the mobility and that. I'm not sure, but maybe it's too much.
I think there's also something useful with the frigate in Zilfin, with the fact that we haven't discussed it yet, but the fact that it will be battle line and not be Galletian
Mhm.
veteran.
Yeah, but that's just a minor problem in my opinion. Like 90-point Arcanauts, like
Yeah.
if they waste their bounty hunters on that, like who cares?
So
Still.
other than that, points changes were a bit sparse throughout the game.
Yes.
well,
I
mean,
expected a bit more.
yes, same. I'm
Yes.
just gonna add a funny thing, like in Cities of Sigmar, they've hit the dart and reduced the points on the best unit pretty much, like
The crossbows.
Rune Lord crossbows and so on, and then increase points. So it's interesting, like Dark Riders. I've never seen Dark Riders in my life. They increased in points, and there was something.
Yeah, I'm not sure why.
Increase, like now because they're throwing darts, man. Like, oh, who's gonna go down? And then
Were they
others-
targeting mounted battle line because so you can
Maybe.
avoid?
If they were targeting
DVs?
targeting mounted battle line, they would have increased Pascoa Blight Lords by upwards of 40 points per 2 models, because how they think that there hasn't been enough time or data to analyze properly the crazy points internal imbalance in that battle tome is
and
just
Blight
beyond
Lords in Bounty Hunters. Like we're
me.
gonna discuss it later.
It's like, hey, let's take the most oppressive build currently in the book. Let's give it double damage and then not increase its points. It's like, I don't know. It's just, I'm sorry.
Well, apparently they haven't sold all the kits.
There you go. Like a true capitalist, thinking like a true capitalist.
Yeah. Yes, and no changes either on, stuff we might want to ally. Really, as far as I know.
Which I'm not too sad about because there's a few things where I expected it would go up.
Yeah.
Prime is
Trek
the
went
same,
up actually,
which is
didn't
really good.
Can't
No,
remember.
he didn't go up.
Did he?
No,
I don't know. I
no,
can't remember.
It's too expensive anyway.
Yeah.
Prime stayed the same, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the thing. I was happy with the Prime.
The Prime
the
has a better
Encounter is
shooting
still
attack than
pretty
anything
cheap.
in our book.
Yeah, because it's
So there's
reliable.
more wings.
The Encounter is still pretty cheap.
Oh, yeah, he's right. Warplack and Vortex were cheaper, right? But I mean, like,
yeah, but it works differently now. So.
yeah, it works.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's spells all massively changed. So they got lots of spells got points changes. Before we move on, just
but any point reduction is
lots of love for Matt in the chat.
Oh, hey, that's what I'm talking about. See, the audience.
Click
knows.
like if you hear from us.
Yeah, click like if you. Yeah, I mean, is there anything else points changes wise that anyone wants to mention, or?
I mean,
points are minor points changes,
and there weren't many changes. So
I mean, yeah, because they usually don't go that high. Like, I mean, if you want to have some serious point changes, you should like 30 points of that, 50 points of that, and there were some of those.
I loved who was it? 5 points on
and the corn
the
guy,
the fat Slanish guy called.
Glucose. No, I'm just
Gluten.
Yeah, but
gluten intolerant.
Yeah,
glucose.
5 points. That's like 1% of his points. He's almost 500 points, and he's like that 1% is going to change everything. 5 points. Why are you bothering with this?
That's Glucose, the diabetes king.
I mean, like, I think
on his insulin throne.
I think like most competitive players can actually do a better point FAQ than GW in an afternoon. So
because they're not competitive players.
No.
So
the big show. Here we go.
The big thing. There was
Glutos or Scoldion. That's his name. Sorry.
Glutos. Okay.
Glutos.
Okay. There was another FAQ, which basically didn't change anything because it confirmed something we knew already.
Yep.
So this is the one that matters.
Yep.
Which is, can units garrison a Kharadron Overlord Sky Vessel leave the garrison in the movement phase if that Sky Vessel has not yet moved in that phase? If yes, can that garrison unit and that Sky Vessel then each be picked to make a normal move or run in that phase as normal? Yes to both.
Whoa!
Let's go.
Yes!
Only took you 1 year.
Yes.
So we got a little
Bravo.
extra buff as well by waiting that year.
Yeah.
Yeah, we paid dividends for the extra 4-inch moves because of our stunty lads.
Hey, I mean, it's the running that's good because it's going to be exploited in some ways.
Which it just only
you can
proves
actually
that
get
Mornar
onto
is the best
objectives
guy
if
for it.
they. You can get.
I mean, it's technically 10 move because you can get out of the 6 and then you.
Yeah, within
6.9.
Yeah, excuse me, sir. Yeah, I was gonna say 10.9.
Yeah, 10.9. Yeah.
So yeah, basically the whole thing that we've had the last year, where you had to ask a TO because you didn't know how they were going to rule it, is gone. Which
That's
is probably
why
the
you only
best
had
thing.
Lords in the boats, no units.
Unless you're Blaze Ilfin, because then you could guarantee getting out of the boat.
No.
So we were talking about this pre-show, and I think this basically changes everything for all the skyports, including the custom skyports, right? And then there are 2 skyports that have additional sort of caveats to that, right? Does anybody else want to expand on that?
Yeah, well, Zilfin, it affects kind of differently because Zilfin has the hero phase move, and Mornar it affects differently because you have the run and shoot, and you have access to a pre-game redeploy. And custom skyport kind of can be the same as Mornar in the fact that you can have run and shoot.
Also,
Or
you
you can have
command trait.
However,
so you could have a pre-game redeploy in that as well.
However, in that pre-game redeploy for Mornar, it says specifically you cannot disembark in the first turn. So be careful making those tricky techie moves before the game begins.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always, like, if you know who has the prio, you can always just use the ship as an extra movement for your foot lads. Like, you place it on the, if you know you're going to take first, you place it on the deployment edge, like close to opponent, then you get out 6.9, and then you can do your movement. So there's lots of different ways you can use this, which is really cool. And like Max said, getting into objectives is going to be much easier, especially for like our fighting lords. If we're going to get an admiral, go in and smacking because he hits like a truck. If you don't trying to charging ironclad, it's real good just getting them out and go contest something or something similar. I mean, I think it opens up a lot of plays, and it's going to be more fun as well. It's not going to feel as restricted. We're actually going to feel like this mobile army that can move around now instead of like, oh, my guys are stuck in the ship, so I'm not going to even use them in the ship.
Most things where I can see this being of use, where I had problems, was okay. I want to move my ship away from this objective, but I want to let someone stay there, like a hero, like a navigator. I don't need him anymore. He spent his flipper, so he can just sit and babysit this objective, and while I fly somewhere else. And before I couldn't get him out and then move the ship. And now finally I can do this, and he could still move actually, which is a little bonus. But why don't you guys give some more examples of where you think this majorly impacts your play?
So I'll come at this from a Mornar focus lens because that's pretty much my primary skyport. So the way I see this is a potential play is if you bring an admiral and maybe even a purple sun, which I think we're going to talk about a little bit later, you load up an ironclad with 20 arcanauts, they get out 6.9, and then they move 4, and then you make them auto run 6. That's now nearly a 17-inch move off the front line. Then they can fire their pistols at 9-inch range with Ren 2 potentially. So, basically you're just, Mornar is just now focused on, it's just a big alpha strike army.
What I don't like about that, like Arcanauts, sure, you can get them close, but still 9-inch reach is so easy to out deploy and screen out. So that's the biggest problem with Arcanauts. Like you can get them in, but early game, you probably don't want to do the move because you're just gonna, if you don't have a big screen to shoot at, like that's worth a lot of points. But otherwise,
yeah, right. And then if Thunderers weren't so expensive as we talked about earlier, I was really hoping for a points drops on Thunderers because you could do the same thing, but with Thunderers potentially at Ren 3 with the extra range, right? So like that's what I was kind of hoping for after I saw that purple sun and then saw this FAQ. I went straight to the points to the profile, and I was a little sad, but still I think there's more net positives here obviously than when we started. It just opens up a lot of potential, or you can blast away a screen really easily and then have some fun after that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good buff. I think like Alpha Striking Arcanauts, which a lot of people talked about, it's good versus if the opponent doesn't have the screen, then it fucks up his deployment and all that. But like otherwise, use it later in the game if you want to do that damage, because Arcanauts can do amazing damage, especially with fully buffs. Like they probably have the biggest damage range in the book.
If I'm being totally honest, to your point, Mag, I was thinking about using this as a springboard to blow up a screen with Arcanauts and then charge in with a Kronspine Incarnate.
All right, yeah, that could work. So you tag them up, but
yeah, exactly. So you remove the screen and then you just charge in with an Incarnate that can't possibly die round 1, and then you just shoot everything around it.
Yeah, that's one play, but I don't like the Incarnate, so I'm probably gonna play it.
Why? I mean,
because it's everyone's playing it. It's like a very good model. I'm not
that's the thing. I got this more or less for free, but I don't know how to use it in games. I can't find a list where I like it in KO. I struggle.
I like the way everyone has that model rather than the Games Workshop model.
Like a friend's like, I printed this. Do you want it? Like, sure.
I'll
take it.
Sure. I don't have to pay
€170 for that stupid box. Yeah.
Well, if you want to go first, Max, where you think where you will use it in your play style?
The Incarnate?
No. This FAQ, like the movement.
This
You-
FAQ,
you-
yeah,
you-
as I said, I'm a bit struggling to see, but maybe because the lists I run, I usually only have 2 or 3 heroes in the boat. There's nothing else in the boat for me, because I run just 10 Arcanauts and the rest is Skywarns and Sky Vessels. So
I mean-
that's why I'm asking.
It's going to make our battle tactics easier, depending on how you.
Where I
play
can see
those.
this is working a bit like the old, what was it called, the Attack Squadron Battalion,
Oh,
where
in
you
our
move
heart,
the frigate and then they
yeah,
jumped out in front of
that
it.
thing.
Mhm.
So
Pour
maybe a
one
bit
out.
like, I mean, it still exists in the White Dwarf, but it does different things. Maybe in conjunction with that, but since you cannot move the ship prior unless Sylphin or unless Sylphin.
I think there's some sneaky plays in Zilfin with this, because you can do your hero phase moves, then get out 6.9, and then run auto 10 with multiple units.
Yeah,
obviously Zilfin only runs
although in Zilfin you can already be 9 inches away and deploy within 6, so you're already 3 inches away from the front lines.
Yeah, I don't think it
So
affects.
where does the move get me?
Well,
unless I
it's-
cannot land where I exactly want because of
I mean,
terrain. and
you're
stuff.
talking about alpha striking here. Like, I think this rule has more play like
Mm.
further into games, way more.
Yeah,
further
yeah,
into
why-
games
why
than-
did
I'm
you
not
elaborate
talking
on
about
that?
alpha
'Cause I'm
striking. I'm talking
curious.
about grabbing objectives.
Yeah,
because-
I've-
Like,
mean-
as Max says, you can get to 3 inches away, so that wasn't an issue. But now it's like, okay, well, if I want to just get sneakily go and grab an objective, it's so much easier now.
yeah.
Like, people
Well,
can
it's-
zone you out quite easily, or they could before. Now it's so much harder to zone us off objectives.
Yeah, but what I think, like,
Is
I
it?
mean, you guys know I'm playing the Charge Ironclad all the time, so I got my Ironclad into the thick of things already. But I think like this might probably not gonna put me away from the Charge Ironclad, but I don't have to get my. It's easy to get the Lords into combat if I want to get them into combat. I can maybe play a bit more defensively with Ironclad, or play quite defensively. But Charge the Targon is playing defensively, right?
You're a better
but-
admiral than me, Mac, because once they remove the cycle charging from the melee ironclad, that's when I jump ship.
No, I mean, like, you shouldn't have, because like I usually like charged only when I knew I was gonna kill stuff and so on. So you were usually not tied up, and I usually had Arcane Tome and just had Mystic Shield to make it even more tanky. But what I'm
so you're smart. You prepare and think ahead. You don't just take it and ram it into the heart of the enemy like I used to do.
No. I mean, it was like charging Ironclad together with Prime was like my turn 3 centerpiece killer, pretty much.
Love it.
Yeah, like they're a good tag team combo. Charging into more Crushes, Archeon, anything they can find. Anyway, what I think about this change that will affect the most from my playstyle is, like Lee said, like, or what was Max, like, it's dropping off like a hero before you move away. Like, you have to hold objective, like, especially protecting from a deep strike. Like you just place it within the 3 inches.
The 3 inch, yeah.
Yeah, so you can just protect yourself from a deep strike, because they're going to be more teleporting now, I think. Because there's some units that will be very prevalent. So, like, that's really good. And also, like, getting, like, there are a lot of units that don't do a lot of damage. So, like, let's say before I would never have, like, Arcanauts or anything in the ship. Now you can actually have Arcanauts in the ship. You can actually get them out of the ship, charge the opponent, and get, like, some cheap stuff that they're not super scared of, and actually take the objective. So, and we're getting Lords in. Yes, playing the objective game makes this much easier. Like, from a damage point of view, I don't think we gain much. But from apart from some niche like combos that we might discuss later, but my main point is, like, this will help us with the objective game, which we did struggle a bit before if you didn't charge Ironclad it.
Yeah, definitely. The quality of life after having played where you could only get out the end of the movement phase and then you can't move the ship and stuff, it's just going to be so much more enjoyable to play.
Yeah, Matthew needs to talk more. Like,
I'm just hoping my audio holds up. And Chris Cronin there with a very poignant, very timely comment. Love it, Chris. Thank you.
But yes, as a final point on this, in my opinion, like, this adds to the long term during games. Like, I think this is really good for like the whole game. Like, I don't think it's very good in the beginning, apart from some niche stuff. Well, actually, there's some steps that's really good, but in the long term, during games, this is amazing with the movement.
Yeah, it opens options. Yeah,
It
especially
would-
like round 3, 4, when there's just a few units left on the
Yeah,
board, and you need
exactly.
to grab objectives or
Mhm.
screen or do whatever tactics.
I mean,
Yeah.
let's be honest. The fact that you couldn't move your transport if you wanted to just simply get out of your transport was such an, I think, probably an unforeseen circumstance. And I'm just glad that it's finally been corrected. And I feel like being able to normal move in addition is kind of them saying, okay, we're sorry, our bad. Here's a little cherry on top, because honestly, it doesn't seem like much, but it's almost a doubling of movement. I mean, it's an extra, essentially 7 inches of movement on top of, or an extra 4 inches of movement, a 50% increase. Sorry, not a double, the other way. But it's just great. So I'm excited to finally play with my toys.
Yeah, so I mean, this is apart from the movement. This is how we played in 2.0 with getting out of ships. So
Mhm.
it's just
Yeah.
in 3.0 we've been like hindered to actually move. So we
It does. Mac, to your point though, it seems weird that they, or I think this was Lee that said they answered a question as opposed to just an errata of the flying transport rule. Like,
I mean-
who was asking, hey, can we move after we can't get out of our ship anyway?
Many people, because on the War Scroll it still said in brackets that you can do it before the ship moves, implying
Yes,
that the
yes,
ship
one
can
quick,
move.
well, yes, one quick thing though, like
That's where the questions came from.
I mean, this is we're talking about exiting the ship, but I think the same rule applies to entering the ship now, right? Like we can go into a ship and then it can fly high away.
Yes, and you could
Yeah,
always,
that was always the case.
you could always do that.
Yeah, you could.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
you never did it.
yeah.
You never did it because you couldn't get out.
Yeah, I know.
You get in and be like, "Do I want to do that? Because I won't be able to get that guy out until like 3 turns later."
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, so
boy.
that never pretty much came up anyway.
I mean,
It was
yeah,
like the chemist buff. You had, if the chemist was in the ship, you needed a turn to get out. The
Or
next turn
actually-
you could buff the people and he could
actually,
get back in.
And then he could get back in.
That's actually a lie. Like versus Torch of Cain, like I used to put my navigator outside, so I would have extra range, but I keep my ironclad further back from the bow snakes and just get that little bit extra range to debuff Raff and then jump in and fly high. That's the only time I use that. But
Yeah.
other than that,
Yeah. Some other things,
so I mean, Matt, you mentioned about who was asking the question and stuff, and it comes back down to the whole initial problem, which was why we were having some TOs rule it one way and some the other way, which was
fuck you,
the
Max.
problem. The problem was the leaving a garrison was at the end of the movement phase. Where is it? Yeah. End of your movement phase. Oh, I crossed it out rather than underline.
You should cross it out. No, they should have crossed it out.
Yeah.
Doesn't War Scroll always come before core rules?
Yeah, which is what.
Yeah,
which is
Yeah.
what some people were arguing. But then there was also the argument that it didn't actually contradict. Which
So
there is a
I mean,
problem with games.
some people try to abuse it. Like,
Oh, they
when
were
Dragon
trying.
came out. No,
Yeah,
no.
they were
No.
trying.
I'm talking about other things like, oh, so your ship is a garrison. Oh, so it's a terrain. So like, oh, I'm gonna do in the beginning. People try like, I'm gonna do monster's action to destroy your ironclad. Like, no.
okay, now that's just stupid. One question for me, because I'm not sure. Can I leave a garrison if I'm in combat?
Yes.
Yes.
And is that considered a retreat?
No, it's a
'cause
setup.
It's the
So
same-
I
it's the same with
get
the pyramid.
out of the ship when the ship is in combat. Then
Yes.
I can move around the ship and charge
Yes.
back in.
Yes.
Yes to all questions, as Games
Yes.
Workshop would say.
Yes. But the thing is, you
Okay,
can't
that's
if the ship's in combat, you can't enter the ship.
No, I don't want to enter the
No,
ship.
no. But
You can still do it.
Wait. Well, why not? Because I can jump into garrisons into combat. That's still possible.
Well, because you would then be within 3
wait, can
inches
you?
of the enemy unit.
Yeah, I can do that. If there's
Actually,
a
yeah, you
garrison
can,
in a
right, hang
house, and
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
next
you
to it,
can
and I
still-
jump
you can
into the
still
house,
get
I'm in combat without charging you. And you can
But
always tell me.
if the unit itself is in combat, can it get into ship? I don't think you could in 2.0.
no, because it's done instead of a normal move. And this is the
Yeah,
weird
exactly.
thing: is entering a garrison is instead of a normal move, but leaving is not,
Yeah.
which is the problem. I don't want to get too bogged down into the rule,
But
they've opened a can of worms potentially here, which I don't think any
yeah,
TOs
so
were
but
going to allow.
as I said before, like you says you enter a garrison at the end of the movement, but you get into you embark a ship. You can do that before end of the movement, right?
Yes, you do that in the. So getting in is in the movement phase instead of a normal move. So
Yeah.
if you can't do it, if something stops your unit from moving, it can't get into a ship.
Yeah.
Because you can't do something. You can't do something instead of something you can't do. Does that make sense?
I don't believe that you can move into a garrison if your boat is within 3 inches of an enemy unit, because wouldn't you technically be moving within 3 inches of the enemy if you get into the garrison?
You can.
But
It's
yeah,
it's
I
a
mean,
classic
like-
Harrison third edition problem that they haven't
It's
solved yet.
it's the classic with especially since Seraphon is everywhere. Like they're using the pyramid like that. They jump into the pyramid.
Yeah, like you
I
can
stand
have
corrected. I stand
30
corrected.
skinks jump into a tower.
Mhm.
Now all be on the objective, all be in combat with you,
Yeah.
and all hitting you.
The silly thing is you can't enter a garrison if there's another enemy unit in the garrison. But it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if they're within 3 inches of the garrison, which they just
Yeah, if they're standing in front of it or
I
around
mean,
it.
we already played a different game. It's nice. Already played a different game from everyone else, so it's nice. It's nice that we have this FAQs who can actually. Oh, look, I can actually do this.
Yeah.
There's some stuff that still will come up, like at Worlds, I've explained with Unleash Hell. How many times I don't know, because when I charge Ironclad, you can't Unleash Hell if there are guys inside. When people always blow that up, like
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
So
so
where
there's
can
FAQs
the-
that they haven't answered. So they haven't answered that, which because there's a lot of people.
I'm
ruled
still
against
mad they
that.
haven't removed the recycling on the charge,
I know. Tell me about it, Mac.
and that
Um,
we cannot shoot if we're engaged with a flying unit, because we could before.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
can fly
we
highway.
cannot disengage. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
But
we
I
can
think that's
disengage, but we
intentional
can't
from them. That
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, but that's
so-
that's actually a big nerf when it comes to, because Night Hunt is going to be much more common, and they're all
Yeah.
flying, so that's going to be
Yeah.
really annoying versus Night Hunt.
So I can see for this FAQ, if we jump back to the FAQ, is so if I'm stuck in combat with my ship, with my Ironclad, with heroes inside and whatnot, and I want to remove the ship to somewhere else, but I want to keep the heroes in combat.
Yeah,
What I can do is jump out of the ship 3 inches away from the enemy,
and charge it.
then move them if I need to around the ship or
Yeah,
whatever.
you can move. It's so good that
You
actually
can move
them
the
out.
heroes.
Yeah.
Then I can
Charge.
fly high or disengage or whatever the ship.
I mean, the
away.
mobility this gives is
And then I
actually
can charge back in with the heroes. So I keep the heroes in combat while removing the ship.
Have anyone of you guys played with this new FAQ? I played 2 games with it.
No.
With this FAQ, no.
I have, but I mean,
I have
like,
one. I have one set up after this game, but not
Yeah.
not before.
Yeah, because as I said, like that's why maybe I had a bit longer explanation here, where I think it matters the most, like long term in the game. But like
Okay,
Max
well, I
said
like
here-
that.
Yeah, like Max said,
keep
like,
the admiral hitting
Yeah.
if he didn't kill it, while the ship
Yeah,
goes shoot someone
yeah,
else.
yeah, exactly. We can, like you said, Mike, like you can. I want to keep my, especially if you don't run a charging ironclad, because charging ironclad might be a bit different. But yes, on a normal ironclad, I had it in combat because, or I got charged. I get my melee lords out, and they even have their movement, and then they charge, and our melee lord smacks, like the admiral smacks really hard. You can also leave with 10 arcanauts to get a bodyguard, so it's
That's the thing.
Yeah. It's really good stuff, man. Like it's gonna be fun playing more games with this, because I think it changes a lot, like in the long term during game. But most
Especially
people
if they don't count as retreated if you jump out. So
no, they don't. You can move them.
admiral and arcanauts jump out, move a bit around, then the arcanauts can shoot.
Shoot as well.
They can shoot, and they're not going to combat because they don't want to die, maybe. And he charges in, and he's within 3 of them, so he gets a bodyguard, and he smacks. While the ship
It's
goes
when
somewhere else.
it's when it's free, right?
Well, that will be fun explaining to people when it first happens.
Yeah.
Another crazy thing you can do with this is, because if your ship hasn't been destroyed and you're just getting out normally, you have the 6 inches, which is just within 6 inches.
Yeah.
So you can actually get out of the ship on the other side of an enemy unit. So an enemy unit charges your ship.
Like
You
behind
get,
them.
out, you get out behind them and then run onto the objective they just left to charge your ship.
So you can get over screens. You charge
You
your
get
anklet
out-
into a screen and
Yeah,
get out on the other
just
side.
Just like horrors usually do when when they die, like they spawn on the other side.
Or bait them into charging you, because you're like you park your ship there. They're gonna what are they gonna do? Sit there.
As I said, I mean this makes KO much more fun to play as well.
There's some tricks tricks.
Yeah, there are some
Okay,
good tricks.
that's cool.
And,
No, good to know. Good to talk about.
and I think, as I said, I played 2 games with his FAQ. You feel like a mobile force again.
Mhm.
I still run the charging ironclad, so I still felt pretty mobile before, but like the option to even now, especially we haven't discussed this, like the deployment as well. Now versus some armies where you don't have the screen, you can actually put things in your boat. Like you can just sit in a corner if you want.
Okay, I did that a lot anyway because I was playing. I was just sitting in.
No, I mean
that is
the other.
KO.
I was at
I
a
mean-
tournament recently, and I was like trying to
Yeah,
work
but-
out how to deploy.
Yeah,
And
but
someone
some-
walked
so
past.
some-
It's like, why are you thinking about this so much? I know how you're going to deploy. You should know how you're going to deploy. It's like, yeah, I'm going to go in the corner.
Yeah, I mean, like
Instead
as I
of
said,
saying
like
which corner.
on some battle plans like Savage Games, you wanted to protect that home objective, so on.
Yeah.
To screen, and a lot of armies had like teleportation and still had deep strike. So, but for some armies, you can just deploy in the corner. But what I do like to point out that like most, as I said, I think these affects long term because most people I've seen in discussions things like, oh, this alpha strike is going to get even better. Oh, I can get this in slingshot like turn 1. Like I think that's going to be a minor thing that there's going to be some techie builds into that, like some alpha list. But I think in whole it affects the long term of the game way more than anything in the turn 1 alpha
Turn
strike.
3 and 4 is where this is going to shine.
I think now, yeah, I think it can shine anytime in the game.
Well,
What
yeah.
I really love is that you can get your Arcanauts out onto an objective and then move the boat somewhere else. And so now the opponent has to make a very important decision. Do I go after potentially 60 models, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, on an objective? Or do I go after where the power is being projected from and go after the ship that just flew high to the other side of the board? Right. So do I go after the units that are scoring points, or do I go after the ship that's doing all the damage?
This is how we played in 2.0 a lot, but we just blew people up instead. Now we actually have to, because we don't have the same damage.
I wasn't able. I don't know about you, Mac. I wasn't able to play any games in 2020.
I played a lot of 2.0, but I already played Barrack. I've always been a Barrack Fring advocate, and I played a lot of that in 2.0. I didn't have an objective problem because I played with 20 Hearthguard, Runesmite, I had Prime, Ironclad, and had everything. Like you can have so much in one list with the points. I loved playing those lists, most fun lists I played. But yes, I didn't have the problem with objective control. I played a lot in 2.0 as well. But I think, like as I said, like this opens up it. If not for comp, it makes our army much more enjoyable to play.
Yep.
I'm a Barrack Mornar admiral, so I don't trust my own lads, let alone lads from another army.
Well, I'm always trusting other lads from other armies, like Iron Drakes,
especially your ancestors. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't trust Prime because I know he's always going to whiff, but he's still in my.
Yeah.
Well,
The only trust him is
for you.
if he has a command point for.
Do you feel
No,
like
you
you
still don't
need-
trust him. No,
Do you-
I always have the command point for him, but you never trust him anyway.
Do you feel like you need the prime so much now because you could use him to come down and guarantee getting a model onto an objective, but now you can.
He's
I mean,
he's not getting objectives.
No, he's just
He's
killing.
there to punch someone.
Well,
I mean, sometimes he's
often the thing he's going to punch is going to be on an objective. But
Yeah, but then
Also
it's going to be a proving ground.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think like Prime is I think Prime is main job is like as Max said, just get down and do something. Sometimes he goes in and kills a cheap unit to get objective if it's a high point play, like you will get a lot of points for it. But most of the time he just goes in and smacks something. That's important. Smack.
tries to smack something.
Oh yeah, tries. Yeah,
Hits the air around them.
I always save a CP for him, but he will most of the time he rolls once anyway.
Okay.
I
So
don't
you're
know,
still
don't know, man.
pro prime then. You're not going to consider.
I mean, I was pro Prime in 2.0 without the word. I'm still pro Prime.
Yeah.
I
fair enough,
don't know,
fair
man.
enough.
I see a prime and I'm like, wow, that's almost an incarnate.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's he got some competition now with Incarnate. That's true. Also, but what I liked about Prime, especially at Worlds, like, so you're one drop. Oh, you want me to drop first? All right, I'm gonna drop my Prime.
Yeah.
I'll go drop your army.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, true. Question for you guys, because we said this affects different skyports a bit differently. Which skyports do you think benefit most from this?
Tempest Die.
That's a ground port. That's not a sky.
Well, I'm
so-
serious though. I have some very fun Tempest I built.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can get to that later.
Kharadron Overlords like profit, and the rich keep getting richer. I think Zilfin benefits the most out of this.
I disagree on that.
Yeah, me too. Max, what do you think? Do you agree or?
I'm not sure. I don't think there's a specific Skyport that like benefits.
As I said, like this,
particularly.
this is a long like during a full game. This affects everyone a lot, massively.
Like I don't see there's that one super techie thing unless you I deploy my ship on the line or redeploy the ship before the game, but then I can't leave. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I think it kind of benefits the Skyports other than, well, basically any Skyport, Zilfin the least, because I think Zilfin already had tools for getting out of the ship, and now it's kind of gone from being able to do something to be able to do it more. Yeah. Whereas the other Skyports have gone from not being able to do it to just being like, now we can almost we can do all this stuff.
I think it affects Mornar because they can run and shoot, and custom Skyport because they can also run and shoot once per battle. I think that affects those the most in KO.
I was thinking more along the lines of the auto run 6 being able to get into the position that you want to the most without not necessarily thinking, because like having Rend 1, maybe Rend 2, or maybe having Rend Arcanauts, but I think getting into position where you want to go without spending command points, without using your resources, that's where I was thinking.
Yeah, that's why you're on Tempest, because you have +3 move and +1 to run.
I'm thinking, is it like a percentage increase? Like Zilfin's gone from being like a 10 to a 12 in terms of being able to like do the movement stuff, and the other Skyports have gone from like a 2 to a 4, which is like twice as good. They're still not as good as Zilfin with some of the movement shenanigans they can do, but they actually have some tools now. That's what I'm thinking. Like their increase is bigger because they were at a worse starting point.
But as I said 100 times, I don't think this will affect, like, some people like alpha striking, like, but I think like it buffs your alpha striking, but it's not a massive change. Like you could do this type, as you said, Lee, in Sylphin.
I agree.
Or other places. So I think
this is a positional buff, not a damage buff.
Yeah. Cool. Let's move on. I'm not going to get into the whole rules of written because we're actually 52 minutes in, and no one's going to ever let you do it anyway. So the GHB, Galletian Veterans, that's a new thing. GV.
Oh boy.
Galley Vets, they're all the new terms that people
everyone wants to avoid in their lists.
Yeah. So I forget, I'm not going to read it out actually because I think most people know what it is by now. Let's talk about how it affects KO.
It puts a target on your back because you just suffer more damage from bounty hunters. That's what it does. Yes, there is one battle plan where you need them or you score extra or 2. There's a battle tactic, but
you don't really.
There's only one battle tactic, I believe, where you require veteran units to
and KO are not the GVs you want for that battle tactic.
Well, there's more battle tactics as well where it's where your opponent can't do them if you haven't got GV units.
Yeah, I think proving grounds which is the core, and the core is it's pretty good to have some Galletian veteran because of proving grounds.
One unit of Arcanauts is enough.
1 or 2.
Classic Max.
Like I hate that in KO the proper battle lines that you go for. So Skyriggers or Arcanauts, they are all GVs. You have no choice. They are just GVs, and I hate that.
Balloon boys should count as mounts.
I think
I'm specifically building like overrun
Yeah,
list
under
just has 10
a balloon.
skeletons, and the rest is not mounted.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff with Galley Vets, isn't it? There's the proving grounds. There's all the battle tactics. There's bounty hunters.
And we don't get. Well, I mean, sure, and then riggers with sauce do get affected by this special rule, but they're not. If they're bounty hunters, if they're facing a bounty hunter, they're gonna die even faster than they did before. So
that's the thing. All our battle lines, like the balloons and the Arcanauts, they die if they get a melee. Let's be honest.
Because what I'm talking about for people who are listening, like there's a special rule, bonds of battle. Like when a Galletian veteran, basically everyone on a 32mm with a 1-inch reach or 40mm actually can fight in 2 ranks, or even more.
Yeah,
so
basically, yeah.
So you could have a 6-stack with saws running, but the problem is they are a battle line. So if you don't have to make them battle line, sure you can do this with a 6-stack without battle line. But let's say you want a 9-stack and with saws, like they're gonna be
you can
battle.
make a 6-stack, not battle line, yeah, but
Yeah.
like you're not building a melee KO army.
But that's the problem. That's the problem. Then they don't benefit from this rule. They don't benefit from this rule if they're not the battle line.
Yeah, because they're not GV. Yeah, that's the bullshit.
Right. Yeah, that's the point. Like, so you don't get that extra range because they're not the
It's a
battle
bar
line.
guy's
Like,
problem. Yeah.
Yeah,
Kharadron Overlords are going to be using the proving grounds defensively, not offensively. You're going to want to pick the objective to be the proving ground that your opponent cannot pick later to use against you.
Yes, but I'm gonna go to one thing here. Like, I think, like, at least for me, from my playstyle, like, not being able to burn objective turn 3 is actually a big nerf. Like, because I used to like to burn objectives where my opponent like had a lot of his army.
Yeah.
So I guess he had to move.
Yeah, I agree.
So, like, I think proving ground is a much worse rule for us than we lost Matt. Much worse rule for us than burning objective was, especially on diagonal maps. Like, you could actually, if you burn the middle, they had to fight on the edges of the battle map. So I really miss being able. Oh, ouch, Matt. I really miss being able to burn objectives because I think that was really good for KO.
Do you think it was perhaps too strong for the game? It depends on the battle.
I mean, some Battleplans. Yeah, it was maybe too strong, but it also the problem with the previous one was like the ideal order was like if you like as a KO, if you get 1 second, you wanted to what's it called? You wanted to, if you 1 second, you wanted to get a double T2, and then you didn't mind getting double T turn 3 because you could burn an objective.
Yeah,
that was like the ideal. And Orius, I given away so many turn 3s because I think it opened up an interesting way. Even as KO, I gave away so many turn 3s because I can burn that objective, and yet force my opponent to move so much of his army because you're pretty much in a dead space. There's no objective, so they had to move all that. Now that's gone. Now it's just a proving ground, which is much worse, especially for KO, as Max said, because we don't have any good to get Elysian Veterans. I
mean, yeah, it's nice that your 6 Sky Wardens, if they run onto objective, they count as 18. Okay.
Well, that's expert conquerors. That's not proving ground, but yeah.
Yeah, but if because they're GV, I mean, that's a nice bonus, I guess. But I don't know.
But other armies do it better.
Yeah, they have to be in that battalion, and there are so many better choices for the conquistadors than the engine riggers.
Yeah, our GVs are not good GVs.
The thing with proving grounds is it's going to be very matchup dependent as well, because when you got like say like just one monster on an objective that is counting as 5 or something, or a monster and a hero, and then you can run some riggers on, and they then actually, if they're battle line, or you can run some Arcanauts on, and they can take the objective because they're the only ones that are going to count.
Yeah, but I do. Go
on. But then when you have the matchups against armies with 60 zombies and that sort of thing, it's not going to help us at all, and that's where you're going to use it defensively.
What I think Soul Black became much worse matchup for us because they're probably going to run Expert Conquerors because if they have a lot of zombies.
Oh no, no.
You don't think so?
I play a lot of Soul Blight, and zombies are worse off.
Yeah, I know in general, yes, but I'm just talking about a specific matchup against us.
If you're playing Soul Blight and you're not playing Blood Knights, then you're just doing it wrong.
Yeah,
well, that's one thing. But the thing is, well, let's not deviate too much into Soul Blight. But zombies are just gonna get like, I count as 180 models, but I'm gonna die as double as quick.
Yes, but I just said
makes no difference.
I just said against KO specific, just a 1-on-1 matchup.
We've never had a problem dispatching zombies.
You can kill 60 zombies, no issue.
But I mean, zombies are just an example. It could be any unit that's like 30 models that's Galletian Veterans. Then Proving Grounds doesn't help, does it?
My main point though is as a KO here, since we have so much, we can have a long range shipping damage. Like if a lot of armies just gonna pay for MSU Galletian Veterans if they have to, if they don't have better options like Blood Knights and so on, and we can just kill those with range from far range, and then we can actually force it with the Proving Grounds. Can actually deny them taking points that we hold. We just abandon.
The one problem I have with Proving Grounds, the one thing people keep to forget, if that objective was mine in the previous turn, you make it a Proving Ground, it's still mine unless you get on there with a veteran.
That's what I just said.
Yes.
Like
Big
that's
brain.
that's what I just explained. That's why.
Well, you were talking about killing.
No, if I kill their Galletian Veterans, and if I have an objective, let's have an objective in the middle of the map. That's easy to contest. I kill their Galletian Veterans. I hold it, but I just run away, and they win the prio. They go first. I just say, "Oh, this is a program. You can't take it because I still hold it." If they have no
okay.
weapon.
You mean the other way around? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't expect people to run many GVs unless
that's why they're going to run MSU GVs.
I'm not sure. No, I don't think.
I expect
Some
people.
have to.
I agree with Max. I expect a lot of people to see Galletian Veteran keyword as a liability rather than a bonus, and they're going to not run or run as little as possible, minimum possible. That's a great bonus to us.
Yes, but that's exactly what I'm saying. Like people going to run if they're going to.
Okay, so you're going to kill their 3 MSU units of GVs. Well, that's 300 points. That's not was the problem.
No, but we have to discuss proving. I mean, it's of course not. But it's just affecting the Proving Grounds because they can't use. We can use the Proving Grounds to deny them taking that objective at all. That was my point.
And then they take it over next turn. I mean,
but it's one extra victory point they don't get. Potentially 2 if it's the one.
As I said, I think this is much worse than burning objectives because we like burning objectives most of the time.
Yeah, the thing burning objectives was to give a bonus to the player going second and third round, and now with Proving Grounds they said, "Oh, we'll give a bonus to the player going second in each round." And I think Proving Grounds it's a tricky thing. I like it because you can plan ahead. Like, I'll make this Proving Ground because I don't care. So later you can do it to me.
Exactly.
I'll burn it, so to say.
Yeah,
I'll take the option away, or I'll do it on yours. And often I don't use it. Like, I choose not to.
That's how Kharadron Overlords generals are going to have to use Proving Grounds. They're going to have to use it defensively rather than offensively.
But why would you use it offensively?
Well, because we can't. Is what I'm saying. You can't take advantage of it.
Well, I think we can take advantage in certain matchups
over there. You know,
if you take into the fact that the context of we just talked about the FAQ, we can get models out of a ship and then move them and then run them. If you make an objective a Proving Ground where there's no Galletian Veterans on it, and all you have to do is run some Arkanauts onto it, you don't care if you lose those Arkanauts next turn. They're 90 points. But it could be 2 extra victory points.
So you're saying Zilfin benefited the most?
Well, any Skyport, because any Skyport you can get units out of the ship there before you fly high and just go, oh, that's a Proving Ground now. And now I'm going to take it, even if it doesn't matter if you've got loads of models on it. If they're not Galletian Veterans, they're not, it doesn't matter if they've got a unit of Blood Knights on it, as long as you don't get into combat with them.
Right, absolutely. So the key here is to keep your Arkanauts out of combat, which is a new thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's always been the thing, right?
Just generally KO, just don't get into combat unless you're going to kill something.
Charging
with your ship. I knew you were going to say that.
No, that's charging. That's not combat phase.
Yes,
the charge phase. That's
the charge phase, not the combat phase.
No. You mean
make our Arkanauts Galletian Veterans somehow?
Well, they are Galletian Veterans. They are
by default.
They can't get out of it.
That's what I don't like about it. But okay.
So anyway, the bonds of battle.
On the last point on Galletian, like in my personal opinion, I think you should be able to if you have a battle line unit, you should choose. Oh, I want to be able to make this a Galletian veteran. I think that should be.
Or you should be like Skaven. They can choose to make something a battle line.
Well, if you chose to give something the veteran keyword, then I mean then bounty hunters is completely moot because nobody would
Yeah, but bounty hunters are stupid, shouldn't exist. So,
okay, well that's a different debate. But we live in a world where it does exist. So if you gave everybody the chance of being veterans, nobody would ever take it. And that's the reason why bounty hunters exist. It's a yin and it's like a predator.
Stuff just dies quicker,
right?
It's just stuff dies quicker. That's the whole thing.
So the other thing is just there's a general issue with if they made it optional and you're looking at opponents' list and they've got their armies like, oh, which one of these was Galletian Veterans again, or one of your 3 units of battle line? If only one of them was Galletian Veterans, like you got to remember which one it is and track it through the game. Whereas now it's just you just know. Now you just know. No, I mean on the table. Like you have to remember which one of those 3 units.
Well, you still have to ask which of these units is in hunters, which of these units.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think
it's the same concept.
Yeah, it's just one less thing to track, isn't it? It's
worse for the narrative player Lee. That's what.
Yeah, I know. Okay, next.
One thing about Proving Grounds that's a shame, but also potentially a good thing is it's start of the battle round rather than like the start of the turn or the start of the hero phase. So you can't wait until someone's picked a battle tactic and gone, and then go right. Well, that one's Proving Grounds then, based on what their battle tactic is. But that would also be kind of annoying if it was like that.
Like Slater Warlord, Finest
and
Hour.
then the Finest Hour,
yeah. So okay.
I'm going to play the Warlord. Well, I'm going to pick Finest Hour.
Yeah,
that's why I always baited people and pick another battle tactic and then kill the Warlord anyway. Because the battle tactics were so easy to past edition.
Yeah, there's a command ability which I haven't included because I don't think it's ever going to get used, especially by us.
I forgot that existed.
Underwhelming assault.
It's just
This spell is quite interesting though.
The spell
is good if you get in range. Yes.
Yeah, if you have Arcane Tome or an allied wizard, then you might use this maybe.
Arcane Tome, let's go.
Yeah, Gaze of Castle Value 7, 12-inch range. You pick an enemy unit, and that unit counts as half the number of models when they're contesting objectives.
Yeah, I know there's some discussion what does that count, like with models counting as more and blah blah blah. But basically, I think the main idea is how many do you count after all your modifiers, sub-factions, battalions, and then
so a Mega Gargant at default Mega Gargant will be 10 models.
Yeah, 10 models, 20. And people are arguing, well, he's 1 model, now he counts as 0 models, so he's not counting at all, and blah blah blah. But no, I think the main idea is just half the final number.
No, because that's just an interesting thing. Like, Knights of the Empty Throne has kind of the same rule, but that says remove one that they don't count as one. That model doesn't count on the objective. This one just says half, so it's 2 different things. So this one is pretty clear, like just half. Like a monster counts as 2. Do you round up or down on? That's the problem. What do you do with monsters?
Rounding down.
Rounding down.
I have one comment on Gaze of Ghur. Trust Aethermatics, not superstition.
Fair enough.
It is pretty good in some instances,
it's a freebie,
but not for KO. I think you're not building a list with a wizard to do this.
Yeah, it's the same with the other thing. Well, sure, actually, I used the other one to
Knight and Cantor.
No, I used the previous one.
It's not getting into 12.
For example, I blew up Hearthstone by making my Navigator a monster before, and so on, and just roar things I charge into, or stomp.
There's going to be niche times where you might potentially use this if you have a wizard.
Yeah, so it's just as niche as the making a monster.
Next.
Before we move on, I don't think we need to be that aware of this being used against us. Because
we're not on objectives.
No, and if we are, the enemy units on the objectives are dead. So it doesn't matter that we count as half.
Or our own units are dead. Especially
either one or the other.
Yes, we either have the objective or we don't. It's very rare that you're counting the models and that it really matters.
Maybe if you have your Arcanauts in the Expert Conquerors and they don't kill all of them, then they could come into play. But that's not something you can rely on because they probably, if they charge Arcanauts, they probably rely on killing them.
Speaking of Expert Conquerors, and we've alluded to Bounty Hunters a lot already. So 2 new battalions. bounty hunters, do you agree we're not going to be using?
Smelly, that's the thing. If it
Yeah.
were every
I
attack.
I have one list where I use them, but there's once again our ground skyport in cities. It's where I run Aura of Glory on, let's say, on Krondis, and I have 2 6 stacks of Ender Riggers, and they are in bounty hunters. So they will have 2 attacks each, and that's the only time I use it. I played around a bit with that list. It's actually pretty strong. But in KO, there's probably never. I mean, maybe in a meme Baraxon build. Like that's the only way I can see it. With Sky Wardens.
Here's my question: is it ever a bad idea to put your 3 units of Arcanauts in an Expert Conqueror's battalion?
No, I done that. It's not bad.
It's never a bad idea because they're already Galletian Veterans.
Unless
you're chasing drops.
And unless you're still on the battle regiment, which I think in our army is a viable strategy, but in most other armies, everybody's chasing bounty hunters. So it's
one of the
actually,
2,
Yeah, I think like even I am starting to look a bit to Battle Royale because now pretty much no one else is going to be 1-drop, and I always detested Battle Royale because I think like KO has such amazing artifacts, and I usually don't care if I went first or second because I can adapt my my game plan around that. Especially if they are 1-drop. I mean, I just drop, as I said, Prime in Heavens, and I see where they drop, and I just counter drop. So in my armies, like the ones, let's say the ones I brought to Worlds, I would definitely run Expert Conquerors for my Arcanauts. But if you chase the drops, I think Expert Conqueror is not a bad battalion for us, but it's not doing a massive amount either. So
no, because the Arcanauts are still gonna die.
Yeah,
at the end of combat, the one is gonna count as free. So, oh yeah, hooray!
No, I mean they're not always dying super fast, but now if they're facing a bounty hunter.
Yeah, they are with bounty hunters. They're just gonna explode them.
Yes, now with bounty hunters they do.
Yeah, so why waste drops on conquerors? I'd rather take the free drops on an command into rush and get an extra artifact.
Yeah. Or I don't. Yeah,
I mean, if you have a unit of 20 Arcanauts that count as 60 on an objective. I mean, I don't know. That kind of
it's zombie discussion. They're just gonna explode next turn.
Yeah, I mean, a 20 stack of Arcanauts has an even bigger target on their back than 10.
Yeah.
Like, sure, it's only 180 points. I mean, like, it's no points. It's no.
But if they're shooting if they're going after your Arcanauts, it's a huge win, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
I want you to go after the Arcanauts.
Then you might as well run them in tents.
I think there's a case. I think there's a case for a big cloud of Arcanauts, like a 30-10-10 or a 20-20-10.
I did run 30. I did play with some 30 stacks before, after the White Dwarf update, because I just found it funny with the Admiral buffs and all the buffs you could give them.
Yeah.
And especially before the FAQ, the Battlesmith, which is quite funny to rally them on the 4-up. But nah, I think like if you run more than the MSU, you more often than not going to get punished for it.
I can respect that. Not my style of play, but I can certainly respect that.
I think there's still going to be play for a unit of 20 hours just because they're so efficient.
Yes, they're like no points. They're 180 points.
Yeah.
Like,
I can see Conquerors like 6-man of Sky Riggers just to get, like, if you don't care about drops, okay, put them in there, and then I can maybe get that objective because I count as 18.
As we discussed as well, though, like if we have 10 Arcanauts in the ship that is our Expert Conquerors, if you drop them out and you have steal the objective, I mean that's actually a play.
Yeah.
There are plays. I mean, there's always plays for something, but the problem is how often is it gonna play out? How often are we gonna be able to do it?
Yeah. You know,
if you don't care about drops, and you have those 3x10 Arcanauts that are not in a battalion, you might as well put them in Expert Conquerors.
You know, it's quite interesting to think about a unit of 6 Engine Riggers or Sky Wardens hitching a ride with an Ironclad that count as 18 models on an objective, dropping off the 10 Arcanauts on one objective, then flying high over to another objective, and then having 19 models.
Can we discuss one thing? Why is Ironclad still 2 models on objective?
1.
2. It has more than
5 units.
Why? One lonely dude can count as free.
Jeremy Vessier still maintains that was the number one biggest flaw with this book, was not being able to score within the book, which then focused us not being able to score within objectives, because it then focused our attention on creative creating negative play experiences from the opponent and not playing the game, which is objectives, and focusing on the army and not the objectives.
I think it's good. I think it's
good. He's still right to this day, and that was his comment day one.
I think
think-
it's too strong.
Yeah,
It would have been negative anyway.
Nah,
If
It
you could just,
it would have been giants. I have
No.
1 toe, 1 millimeter of my base on the objective.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all the 25 guys inside count.
Giant-
No,
Giants
that's
are
giants.
relevant-
That's the problem that giants have.
Giants are relevant for 1 month, and then that's about it.
Well, they were relevant for half a year.
They're
Yeah.
relevant.
the thing is, it wouldn't be broken now. Well, maybe it would if you were running
It wasn't
expert
2.0.
conquerors.
In 2.0, it was so broken then. So it would be
Yeah,
Yeah.
but back then it would have been.
No, I understand why not, but
yeah.
I don't understand why like a monster counts as 5 and a ship doesn't.
But in the world where we are now, where you could have units counting as like triple the amount of models on the objective, actually having a ship and the units inside the ship counting on an objective is probably not that broken now.
No, not at all. If they cannot be expert conquerors, like if you have 20 archons in the ship, they're like 60.
They count at 60, but yeah.
Your point is well taken. The book is 2.5 years old, so that is that's another generation in terms of Warhammer.
That's like 4 Lumineth books.
Yeah,
Well,
there's a four, isn't it?
coming.
got him. Oh man, Max loved that elf burn. I know it. I can see it.
Fucking elves.
Actually,
Love it.
Okay, bounty hunters.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
just no.
Let's keep the ship flying.
We covered
you
bounty
can-
hunters
you
before
can
expert
put-
conquerors. We
it's-
just said no.
You can put
Melee.
3 gun haulers in bounty hunters.
You know what
Yeah,
you
but it
can
doesn't
do?
affect it.
And
Yeah,
then
but
do
it
what?
doesn't affect- It doesn't
Melee
affect
damage
human.
with.
No, is if you put something in bounty hunters, then you can ally in some Stormdrake Guard and put them in bounty hunters, or something else that's good.
Yeah.
Ally something else and it's good, and then just put some other
Gotrek.
random thing in there.
Gotrek needs that 1 extra damage.
You know, go-
Yeah, it's a hat on a hat. Why does Gotrek need this?
Yes.
He doesn't.
Gotrek got a big buff in the Nurgle FAQ because disease, no matter how many wounds he takes, he only takes
Yeah.
1 now.
He only takes
Yeah.
1. He always did.
No, he
Yeah,
took up to 7.
No, he shouldn't have because
Dwarf bias.
The ability gave him X amount of 4+, and he reduces it to 1. It's always been that case, but I know Nurgle player wished for it different.
yeah, people played it. Yeah, I agree with Max. People.
Dwarf
Yeah,
bias.
yeah, you can put Gotrek in bounty.
Even though I
allies,
hold a grudge
sure.
on you, Max, for ruining my world's experience with a movement.
By what? Gifting you a die?
6. Yeah, no, gifting me 10 wins. No, but that I couldn't get out of my ships because you're the one who told him, right?
Yeah, I explained it to him.
Yes.
Jeremy didn't want me
But
on
that was
team.
2 years ago for 21.
Jeremy didn't want me on Team America because he knew I would have ruined both your world's experiences.
Yeah, everyone's probably.
Oh man, come on. Harsh.
Okay, moving
So-
on. I saw a
There
cat
were-
picture. Let's see the
yeah.
cat.
What were we doing? What
It was a
on?
cat picture. Show
Yeah,
us-
I know.
no,
I
we've
thought I
seen
was
it-
the only
We've
one
seen
that
a
saw
cat
it.
picture.
Yeah,
We want to see the
I
cat
saw it
picture.
too.
Lee.
I
A cat
saw it.
picture?
A little
Yeah.
black cat.
Yeah,
black and white.
like a flash. I thought that was just me. I thought it was hallucinating.
Show us the cat, Lee.
That I didn't know how that popped up, but that
It
was
was on
like,
it's your desktop, isn't it? It's your desktop wallpaper.
no, it's like Microsoft Teams was like popping up, so I was just like, oh, why is that?
Lee,
And I
show
just
us the
like
pussy.
But
Show us the
hovered
final,
over it to close it.
final
I didn't
note
know
for
what. I
bounty
didn't
hunters.
think that would share.
final note on bounty hunters: it's not for us, and it actually affects our battle line negatively. Especially,
Yeah.
Archons still died fast; they're gonna die faster. But it
Yep.
more importantly affects the riggers even more because.
I mean, all of those just died.
Yeah, but it's
Since we
still-
lost the triumph for reroll saves, everyone just dies.
Yeah,
That's it, Max. Right there. That was the one thing that was giving us our resilience was the reroll saves.
Also,
Yeah.
no new triumphs. I was hoping for a few
yeah, exactly.
new ones.
No, they're in the core rules, aren't they?
Yeah, but with the
Yeah,
guild
maybe
tri-
like a pitch battle triumphs. I don't know.
Sure, or some extra, but
Something.
they're in the core rules. So that and when there's a new edition, you'll get another one, another
like.
set.
I mean,
Yeah.
sure, not reroll saves, but +1 to save would be
Or-
a nice one for the Ironclad, right?
Or in a new book. In a new book, maybe we get some elf love like the Lumineth does, and get some special gold like they. Have
I
their
mean, they're
special
gonna
box.
ruin KO in the new book. I think.
If they make a new book, they need to move away from the fact that your core allegiance ability is somehow linked to a different publication that changes yearly.
Right,
I
they
mean,
get
Like,
they
who
get
came
special
up
rocks.
with that?
They
You
get
had
special
6,
rocks.
then
They
they
get
made
special
it 3,
gold.
then they changed them. Like, why?
Nice spelling, man. Nice spelling.
Yeah.
Tage.
Ah, yeah, there it is. There's always one. There's always one.
I don't think Aether Gold matters that much, even if it exists in the new. They have to get troop transport right in the new book. And if they don't get
But
troop
then
transport
what's the
right, then
core allegiance ability of the army?
troop
Like,
transport
what is the
ships?
Dwarf
I mean,
power.
no, that's models. That's
I know.
models. Where's
Dwarf-
But
my main thing?
But we've just lived through a year of ships not working properly,
I
and
mean,
how annoying that was. That is
Yeah.
that is the most important thing they have to get
I
right.
mean, like if we are on this detour, like one thing I would like to see is like different type, like a little bit on the admiral, like different type of ammunition. Like let's say a shrapnel would be more like, oh, I'm shooting this target, but on a free up, units within 6 of it takes shrapnel damage. Like,
We had that before the drill cannons.
Yeah, I know,
They exploded and
yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean those rules are fun.
yeah.
Like, but yeah, let's not.
I mean, you
detour
can do
into
that with a
this.
triumph. I mean, I like the mechanic of having a resource to spend, which so many other armies then copied.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
why
Yeah,
is
it was-
ours
it-
so
it-
bad?
It was
I
very
think
unique, but now it's the worst one.
I think the
Yeah.
take home here is that elves copy dwarves. And
It's the
so-
same as Skyports.
Ether
We were the
Quartz.
first one with Skyports, and then everyone else did their stupid ground things that were the same as Skyports, but with different names.
Yeah, I mean,
Subfactions.
we are ahead of the curve.
And now
Yes.
we still have the old ones where you force with an artifact and a command trait and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like they moved on with like I like,
Yeah, I like that you're not.
for example,
forced by
Firespace.
KO.
They have one rule for the subfaction, and the rest you can customize through traits and artifacts and everything.
Mhm.
And Fireslace
Which is
subfactions
so
are
much
actually quite. Fireslace subfactions are quite interesting. They actually changes it.
Yeah, they are, and the traits and artifacts are just
Mhm.
awesome.
Nurgle's the same way, except they just gave one subfaction completely limitless broken power, and then every other one of them is pretty mediocre. So
Mm.
that's the slippery
Yeah.
slope. That's the slippery slope.
I mean, that's just a balance question then.
Mhm.
Yeah, but we're detouring now. Let's go for it.
Yes, cool. Grand
Sorry.
strategies.
That's my
They
fault.
changed. So there's 6 now. There was 8 before, I think. So first one, no place for the weak. There are no battle line units from your opponent's starting army on the battlefield at the end of the game.
Pretty good for us.
That
Can
one's
be
not too bad.
good, can be bad.
But
It
bad versus
depends who you're
Nurgle.
playing.
Bad versus fly spam.
Yes.
Nurgle
Bad versus
or-
anything
or like
where they have
close
durable
by bits
battle line.
with 5,000 grots. Like, yeah.
Whose rallies on the 4-up?
Yeah.
But then they're not from the. Oh yeah, rally is. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
they have rally
replenishing is
plus.
not.
Yeah, they have rally
The
plus.
shrine
replenishment
is
now.
not starting army.
Okay. But all of these are fairly difficult, aren't they? So next one, tame
Yep.
the land. If you control all of the objectives on the battlefield that are wholly outside of your territory.
No,
Yeah, no. I mean,
not
it's
with
like,
like-
KO. We already
mean, like-
struggled.
I mean, if you tabled your opponent, you'll get it, but at that point, you don't need the 3 points.
no.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
hard. It's hard.
yeah. Defend what's ours. There are no enemy units wholly within your territory.
Sure, you can control it a bit, but it's too gimmicky. No.
Oof. But then you're
Sacrificing.
opponent
doing
can bait
something-
you.
Yeah,
I
sacrificing.
I don't like abilities that depend on what my opponent does.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
You want to control the grand stretch yourself.
Okay. Tage, what's theirs?
Same as the
there are
previous
more friendly units. Oh, there's another typo. Unities. The enemy. That's
Unties.
this is just a mess.
and the Y and enemy.
Yes, that's why it's a mess.
Yeah.
So they're more friendly units than enemy units wholly within your opponent's territory.
I mean, it could be good. I mean, because
This is the
people in the
best
ship,
one.
This
people
is
in the ship still count as being.
Savage Spearhead.
Yeah, exactly. Turn
Savage Spearhead,
five,
the strategy.
turn,
I mean-
turn 5. You take the battle tactic where you need 2 units in your opponent's territory.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
right.
you- Yeah, and then barge through their lands, and then this is your grand strategy, and you're like, cool.
Yeah,
What
because they count, because the goat boys in the ship actually count. So,
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
so
absolutely.
yes, well, yeah,
This can be good, although there are some battle plans with very small
yeah.
territories.
Territories, yes.
The cache, the one that blows up.
Yeah.
The next
On
the
the other
one
hand,
is,
I like because
Yeah.
you can shoot everything.
Yeah.
They cannot hide.
the next one is we're not even going to discuss as a
No,
KO player, right?
no. Because okay, maybe you have 3 Galletian Veterans, but you're not gonna keep them alive until round 5.
Hey,
Like, no,
I kept all my
I
Arkhams
don't
alive
see-
in battles.
I don't see
Run
that.
away!
No.
Yeah, exactly. I ran away so my opponent couldn't kill them and score battle tactics.
Yeah, exactly.
Run away with move 4. Okay.
I mean, I used to use hold
Sure.
the line,
Oh, actually,
but it was the frigate that was staying alive. But
Yeah.
it's not going to happen. So the last one,
Skip.
show of dominance. There are friendly Galletian Veterans
No.
units in
Skip.
each quarter of the battlefield.
Listen.
Here's the thing.
Unless
Bus gunholder spam.
Here's the
no,
thing.
they're
yeah.
not veterans. They have
But-
too many wounds.
Oh yeah.
You only need one model on the very
here-
center point of the. Yeah, I
no.
did it. All right, everybody. It was a great show.
I've
Thank you.
already seen so many TOs say no. You need 4 units. Plus,
So,
what do you
um,
do
they're
if in the
comping, so
in
they're
the dead
comping.
center
Okay.
in the dead center of the battlefield there's a terrain piece which is impassable?
Mm.
What do you do
Yes.
then?
Or what do you do if there's an enemy model there?
Yeah, well, there's like
You-
That's
give
like a Maw Crusher.
3
you give up
Nurglings
3
sitting
points.
there.
You give up 3 points. That's what you do.
Yeah.
No. I don't
Um,
think any. I actually starting to like the ones from the White Dwarf.
Yeah, same.
mhm.
Do we have that, Lee?
No, because that hasn't changed.
Oh.
I mean,
No,
but
I think that and take what's theirs is our 2 best ones.
Tage.
Because
Maybe
it's actually
no place
it's
for the
actually
weak as
not
well,
bad.
potentially.
Yeah, but yeah.
Because
But
you can easily spend an ETH gold each round.
The
Yeah.
difficulty is the last round when you've got to make sure
You need to
have
get
gold.
rid of all of them. But last round, let's be honest, you have like what?
and you can just throw them
The
away.
Ironclad left, which spent its ETH gold anyway for the shooting, and then you have a hero, and then you just do some stupid.
Mhm.
I mean, you can throw
Kill
them away.
turn four.
You can just throw them away on stuff. Like it's no problem.
You can do the Battle Shock immunity.
Yeah, you
one,
can just do
you know,
anything.
just-
you just throw them away, man.
Just-
Uh,
Yeah, you can. So it's
You can't just do
achievable.
the Battle Shock community one unless you're doing a Battle Shock test, and you only do a Battle Shock test
yeah, but you
if
can.
you've lost models from the unit that turn.
Yeah, but there's ways.
This
of
is the
losing models
thing.
as well. You can actually let's depending on the terrain, of course. But if there's a damn terrain, you can just sure. Like you can you can prepare for it. Like, I mean, it requires planning, but as Max said, spending them all during a game is not hard at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, plus units that died without spending, it
Yeah.
still counts.
exactly.
Like
So-
they're not there.
So your Arcanauts, they might die. And heroes,
Yeah.
heroes can always spend them in the hero phases. Like,
Let's be fair. Half of your army is gonna die eventually. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
so,
I mean, to
So,
be honest, with
yeah.
you, the long and short of it is that the grand strategy that you're most likely taking is Master of the High Airs, right? Like either
Yeah.
that or Tage. What's theirs?
Tage.
Tage was
Tape.
there,
It should be tape. Tape
or
what's
no
theirs.
place for the weak, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
But
it's
it's a
very
matchup. It's a
opponent dependent.
matchup. Yeah, matchup dependent.
Mhm.
And I don't like
Maybe.
matchup dependent.
I mean, play a BOC army, or a Nurgle army, or I mean, Battle Line is there's such a focus on Battle Line right now
Yeah.
that I just don't want to be anywhere near having to kill everything in their army. All
If the
battle
army
lines.
only
Mhm.
consists of battle line, yes.
Well,
If
you
it
run up
consists
against I just there's so many armies where Battle Line is so strong right now. It's just I don't want any part of that in a 5-round tournament.
Against Sons of Behemoth, it's just like you get your grand strategy if you table your opponent, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
You win the game anyway. Usually,
Yeah.
so.
yeah, so
So yeah, probably not that. Yep.
Master
Okay.
of the Year.
Master
the-
of Man and Tage.
the KO one has basically got a lot better now. It's not got
Yeah.
better, but the other one's got so much harder. That it's
That is true.
yeah.
Strategies are
Um,
not guaranteed.
Battle tactics similar in the fact that they've all got harder.
Where is that
We
one?
can start with the White Dwarfs one actually. Since we don't have those.
I actually like the White Dwarfs one. No, 2 of them. at
Yeah.
least.
Well, one
You-
of them was good before as well. It was a freebie. So
Yeah.
oh,
there's
he's
a-
outside.
It was outside a minute.
It keeps
Before, I
flying
think
high.
he's just stood up.
Yeah.
It's
It
not
keeps
like
teleporting.
the other week where he just ended up on a tree at one point.
Oh my god, that was during our 4-hour show where I it was crazy. Yeah. No, I just stood up for a little bit. I just gotta stand up.
Okay.
It looked like you changed place.
Mhm.
So
Anyway, battle tactics. They didn't
Yeah.
answer in the FAQ about whether units inside a garrison count as on the battlefield or not, did they?
They do.
didn't. They do. They did in 2.0.
They
They
do
did in
because
2.0, they
the
did in
only
3.0.
time a unit does not count as being on the battlefield if it's in reserve.
Correct.
If you
And
read the reserve
and
rule.
the only time they don't count when they're in the ship is if for models on objective, but they
Okay.
count
Yeah,
as being
for
within for
contesting,
every other
yeah.
purpose. For
I
contesting,
guarantee
whatever.
you this: if you get a TO, if your opponent says no, that's rubbish, and you get a TO to rule on it, they will rule against you on that.
No, just show him the reserve rule.
Yeah.
I'll pull it up.
Count it.
One second.
Because
Where is
I think
research?
it's fairly clear how they intend that rule to work. It's the same problem with the FAQ. With the FAQ they did do with the getting out the ships. It's quite clear how it's meant to work, but the rules are written is a bit clunky.
Play your narrative army, get the rules out, and then say, well, technically, the code does not specify this. So,
Yes. But anyway, the two battle tactics, the 3 KO battle tactics, two of them are good regardless of how they ruled that anyway. But we didn't mention it when we did the FAQ bit.
Yeah, the second one. That's
And
much better.
it really does. It would have been helped if they had ruled on that. So that those two were already really good anyway. I think we were already using both of those. Probably one of them definitely before. Were you guys using those before?
Only one.
Only one. The getting out of the ship one.
yeah,
No,
I
that
used
one-
2 of those.
Fun.
I use 2. I use. Let me read the proper names. Where are they? Here.
Oh well.
I like
that's-
the boots on the ground.
You don't need to know the names.
Because
It's just the getting out the ship one,
it's
the getting in the
free-
ship.
no,
one.
if
you
you
don't even
can't
need to get
say the
out.
name,
You just stay in the ship. You pick 3 heroes. If in a garrison, if they are on the battlefield, so in a garrison at the end of the turn, you completed the thing. So you just pick these 3 heroes and say, I pick these, don't get them out of the ship or anything, and ta-da, done.
if
and the other
if
one.
all ranges and abilities are measured from the garrison, so this whole business of somebody saying, well, your general's not on the battlefield, you don't get a command point. That's
That's bullshit.
There's actually a side note clarifying that.
they need it. Your opponent needs an Aether beer or whatever.
For all
because they need to
rules
chill out.
purposes, they count as being
Yeah.
on.
And the
Yeah.
same thing for that battle tactic. It's the same thing. They're on the battlefield.
Mm.
Give
I
me a
mean,
break.
I had to explain so many times in 3.0 when my charging arrow when I charge into, if I have guys in the ship, if I charge into you, your shooting unit, you cannot unleash hell because I have models inside, and they are
Yeah.
for every purpose apart from counting as models from objective. They do count as being there.
Yeah,
They're
you
not
just measure
invincible.
3 inches from the ironclad. So.
Yeah.
So this is pretty easy. You just need to fly within enemy territory with 3 heroes.
And the other one is easy as well.
And the other one is mobilize the fleet, which you cannot do first turn, which is a bit annoying because it's very easy. You pick 3 units on the battlefield. You complete this battle tactic if they are in the garrison. So you can pick them already in the garrison. They're on the battlefield.
Yeah.
If they stay in a boat.
That's so easy. So we have 2 really
So
good ones.
you have 2 that are
The bomb one is so
independent
easy.
from your opponent, which you can do. The bombing run is
I don't know. Eye for an eye is pretty solid one. You're probably going to use almost every game.
Yeah. Eye for an eye is very good.
Well, let's talk about the actual ones of the JP because people know what the KO ones are or should do. So gaining momentum, pick and destroy 1 enemy unit, and also control more objectives than the opponent. So it starts off easy and then gets harder.
Yeah.
No, it's not super hard.
Depends. If it's a battle plan with 3 objectives, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
It's
one
not
with
super
8
hard.
can be
I think it's a
difficult to
pretty
do.
good one. I think the 2 games I played, I scored it both times.
You can it depends on the situation. It's achievable.
Because the thing is, if it was just pick and destroy 1 enemy unit, it'd be really easy.
Yeah, I mean
just pick some screen or something. And,
But it's not very hard in my opinion. But,
it's a good one if your opponent makes you go first, because especially if there's like objectives in the middle, then you just take the general, kill a screen.
There are a lot of battle plans where you cannot control objectives turn 1 now. So
yeah,
especially then proving ground is the other one, and then you're not scoring anything.
An eye for an eye if one or more friendly unit destroyed last turn and one or more enemy unit destroyed this turn. So
This
it's
one,
possible
too.
to do this turn 1 of the game.
Precisely.
You need to have lost a unit and then then kill a unit.
Yeah.
So-
So
Yeah,
it
it's a
says
very-
turn. So even if you double turn, you
Mhm.
can count units lost or between rounds. Yeah.
Well, let's be honest with you. Let's be honest. First turn of the game, you're doing against all odds. That's the new
Mhm.
hold hands and run, right?
Yeah, but no,
Um,
not really. Because
There's
a lot
other
of
ones as
Battleplans.
well.
There are a lot of
Desecrate the
Battleplans where you-
lands is a pretty good one for the
Yeah.
first turn.
And I'm just going to pick on Desecrated Lands after you mention it, if you go for it, Lee.
So which before we go before we did an eye for an eye, it is harder to do if you double turn, especially if you're playing against shooting stuff, because you have to have lost one of your units in the last turn, not your opponent's last turn.
Yeah.
So
But it's it's one of the
Don't-
easier ones.
desecrate their lands, pick and control a terrain feature within enemy territory.
I'm not picking this one turn 1. I definitely am not picking this one turn 1. But hey, if it works for
You're
you,
going to pick it at some point, though, probably.
I'm gonna
I
tell you
mean-
why you picked this instead of against the odds.
against Phil
Because
Collins.
against the odds, you can still do later. This one might be difficult later. If
No, I
these
think
three turn.
this one actually. I when I built lists when this came out, it's still too expensive, but actually raises the stonks a little bit on the gun holder.
Mhm.
It's really easy to just because you control an objective territory if you're within 3 of it.
Some territories are like half of the board. You will find a terrain
Yeah,
piece
I know,
partially within there
I know,
and just sit next to
but
it.
in the
with a
beginning,
bow.
I was like, oh, sure, maybe raise some stonks on the gun holder because you maybe don't want to play with an
No,
ironclad.
I wouldn't build a list for this, but this is
No.
one of the early ones you can do easily.
I'm
No,
only,
I know.
I'm only
Just adding. I mean, let's talk about adding a gun holder, but then again, it's so many points on the gun holder, so I would.
Yeah.
It's almost 20 Arcanauts.
This is one that we can pretty much do relatively easily anyway, if the opportunity arises.
And it
Well,
combos
if you're
well with the
going-
Grand Strat if you want it.
if you're trying to move into that position already, but positioning is so important with this army. I'm not choosing where my ironclad is going to go based on choosing a battle tactic.
That's why I said like having a gun holder could be
yeah.
decent, but it's too many points for it. It's like 155, right? I mean,
Yeah.
pay too much for it.
I've for my money, for my Aether Gold against all odds is probably the one I'm choosing. If I'm going top of turn 1, if I'm made to go turn 1, or if I'm going turn 1, that's the one I'm choosing. The Phil Collins.
Okay, well, let's talk about that one next then. So it's basically pick a friendly unit on the battlefield, and you complete it if any models from that unit contest an objective you control, and no enemy Galletian Veterans are on the objective.
Yeah, it's
So,
a freebie.
It's
like Monsters Takeover freebie.
Yeah, and you probably want to do it with your own GVs in case the one in front of you became a proving ground.
But you don't. Wait,
You
maybe
don't
I
have to do. No, you
You
don't,
don't have to, but
You don't have to do it with a GV.
like,
Yeah.
keep in mind that if you keep this battle tactic, I want to do this, and then you don't have a GV near, and they say, "Oh, well, this is a proving ground now," they can ruin it for
Well,
you.
they would have picked the proving ground before you do your battle tactic. Choose your battle tactic though,
You have to do it
Yeah.
before it's the start.
because they do it at
battle.
the start of the battle round. That is why
Well,
that's why I mentioned the
Yeah.
timing of it.
It's
earlier.
it's the easiest one, but I like to keep easier ones for later turns.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yes,
Um,
exactly. But all in all, with our own White Dwarf ones, we actually don't have a lot of problem with battle tactics. In my opinion.
No, we don't.
mhm.
That was one.
Um,
That was one good point from that Tome Celestial for sure. Is yeah, because these ones are all very difficult if you don't have really great Galletian veteran units.
This one's mine. We're probably not going to be doing.
This is Mac's favorite. This is Mac's favorite. He's like, oh yeah.
Durable suit, Max, right?
Well, it's an
Yeah.
attack, so
Yes.
it can be shooting.
Yes, which is good. At least it's not
And
melee attacks.
we can have generals which punch hard in melee or in shooting.
Yeah, I mean it's not a horrible one. You always
Unfortunately, you cannot do this with the bomblets because that's an ability.
Oh, that would be so great.
Unless you roll a 1, and then you're like, no.
Or if you for some reason put Brock as a general and kill him with a charge.
Yeah, exactly. But it is.
But
It's not too bad.
No, it's actually if you have a durable suit one, it's quite easy to do this one.
If you have dirigible suit as your general, it's not bad.
Yeah, you can shoot stuff, and if it still survives, then you charge in and kill them.
Yeah, especially like Barak Ring or something when he has a good artifact and so on as well.
And he fights on death.
Yeah, yeah. So if it doesn't die, if they don't die, you hope they kill him instead and they fight back. But yeah, it's not a bad one. It's not as bad as people think.
You can do it. Yeah.
It's just not as good for us as it is for armies where they got a big monster as a general.
Zombie Lord and Dragon.
Yeah.
Just Zombie Lord, Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon. Yeah, just goes
head to head. Pick and destroy one enemy Galletian Veterans unit.
It's attacks. It's you can be shooting as well.
Or ability.
Yeah, this one is ability. This one is attack or ability from a friendly Galletian.
What ability do our GVs have?
I'm just saying.
Sky Mines.
Sky Mines.
Yeah, that's not going to kill a whole GV
unit. The time charges on your Sky Wardens.
Yeah.
No. But
risk
this one is situational, but it's not horrible. Like if you face something else that's weak, like a low, let's say. Yeah. I mean, we're probably never gonna use it because we have good ones in the White Dwarf and so on. But it's not horrible. But we have other better options, so we're probably never gonna use it.
We're not gonna use it.
No. If you're running something like 20 Arcanauts and you are using them, then this is something they can do.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's horrible for us, but it's not very good.
Lee, you stole my Aether Storm there. I was just about to say, if you're going to use your Arcanauts to blow up a screen turn 1, then this is the one you pick, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
if they are cheating, yeah,
because it has to be an enemy Galletian Veterans unit. So if your opponent doesn't have any Galletian Veterans, then you can't do this.
Next.
I'm just looking at the. I'm looking at the time, Lee. We're 1 hour 40 minutes in.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Did we say outmuscle yet? Pick an enemy.
No, but that's pretty good.
This is a good one.
On proven grounds, complete this with no models on the proven ground.
And I think you need to control that objective also.
No.
You just need to shoot them off the proving ground.
You just have to shoot them
off the proving ground.
Well, then
so you can pick. You pick before what is the proving ground, and you know they're gonna have models on it. So then you just
they need to be veterans. So this is some of these are difficult because you see people building armies with one MSU GV unit.
Yeah, but I mean,
and if that one is either deck chair sitting on the backfield or it's dead already, or I don't know.
Let's go through all them, and then we just pick like the 5 that you usually maybe 6, because 7 an extra one that you basically will do. Like
we've only got one left, because we've already done against the odds. So bar through enemy lines is basically Savage Spearhead.
Easy peasy.
But you get an extra VP if the 2 units are Galletian Veterans.
So if you have 2 units of Arcanauts or balloons and Arcanauts,
that fly high or something like that.
If you fly high a ship with a unit of Arcanauts and you had a dirigible suit as a general, so the riggers or wardens were, they would hitch and then
it's not something you take into, man. It's just
but it's an extra point you can.
It's a bonus for us if we get that extra point, really. But it's an easy one for us to do.
That's easy.
So you got the 2 from the White Dwarf.
Boots on the ground.
Enemy lines is easy.
Probably the 2 best ones.
Against the odds is easy.
Outmuscle.
Yes.
Eye for an eye is potentially easy.
Eye for an eye, Desecrator Lands is easy.
And Desecrator Lands is easy.
The thing is, nobody is going to be getting. I shouldn't say nobody. Most of your games, both players are not getting all 5 battle tactics like they are now. Basically, in 2.0 or in this last General's Handbook.
I think. Oh yeah. I mean, some armies will, man.
I think some players.
I think KO should. If they allow White Dwarf ones.
Daughters of Cain should.
Daughters of Cain, if they can't, then they're.
Daughters of Cain should be getting like 8.
Okay.
They should have complete 8 to get their maximum points.
Yeah, they need to do 2 per turn.
Yeah, 2 per.
And
they still only need to get 2 points.
Like there's some armies that can easily do theirs. I'm playing a lot of Soulblight recently with Legion of Blood from the White Dwarf. There's 2 in there that are pretty easy. So there is potential.
Yeah, Legion of Blood. I have a Legion of Blood army at home as well. No, it's Neferata in it.
Yes, of course.
Oh my god, I like you, Max. You're a good boy. Good boy.
Why would you put?
Before we move on, there's been some talk from people about banning White Dwarf battle tactics and grand strategies.
And
but then we ban the books as well, please. No, it's just fair. All
Oh,
of that.
yeah, well, not just the white dwarf ones, but all faction
All the
specific
ones.
battle tanks
Faction
and grand strategies.
specific. Faction
Yes.
specific.
I
Yes.
think there are two camps. Like I think it's 50-50. Like
I don't
in
mind
my
either.
opinion. No, I same as Max. I don't mind either. If they take away all of them, fine, because it does create a lot of balance issues with new tomes versus old tomes.
But nearly every tome
so
has got them now.
Everyone has one.
Yeah.
now.
Is there any? Is it
Oh.
like there might
Flesh
be
Eater
one?
were the last ones, I think.
Yeah.
I
So
don't
the
know of
argument-
any army that doesn't
But
have
some
either
armies
white
like
dwarf.
some armies like
or-
cities has like very
Yeah,
shitty
they're
ones.
shit.
Yeah. But
They're
So
shit.
my-
Although the strategy is not bad. So.
yeah.
My
Every-
primary TO in the Southern California area has come out with a very elegant solution where you can take your faction-specific battle tactics and grand strategies, but they don't grant you bonus points for the tournament that you're playing in. So it can help you win the match,
Okay.
but they can't help you win the tournament.
That's a bad way of doing it.
That's a weird way.
Okay.
Yeah, because
It's an American way.
I don't think they should. I don't think they should be banned because there's all sorts of discrepancies between
Tomes.
factions
Yeah.
and battle tomes and stuff.
mean-
so
So where do you stop?
yeah, you're going to start banning battle traits
Endless spells.
and
And then you go,
sub-factions because
I mean, it will.
you've got better
it
ones
will-
than me.
It will go down to in the end. It will be banning units.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a slippery slope. Yeah, we're
yeah. So cool.
I mean, life is a slippery slope. I mean, I
Battle
don't know.
tactics are fine. Strategy we can.
Of course it is. You live in California. You have earthquakes all the time.
There's not a slippery slope here. I don't know if you know how little water we have, but there's nothing slippery about California.
Okay. Battle plans. We're not
Are
going to
these
go through
all?
them all.
these are
In the
the
past,
interesting
we've
ones.
done shows where we've gone through all the battle plans. I
No.
don't think that's
I
necessary.
think you forgot some of the ones that will be used in comp.
Comp?
Competitive.
Competition. I've literally put the ones
I
that have
thought comp like when you change
interesting
rules.
things about them or things you need to know. Like,
All right, yeah, because there are quite a few.
Yes,
you
there
have
are
to add.
12.
yeah,
No, but there are quite a
12.
few that are actually good. That
Yes.
Yeah, there's a few that are good and there's a few that are stupid. But
yeah,
The
but
ones
there are a lot
that-
of most of them that are good.
The
are
first
not
one
here
is
on the
stupid.
list.
Yeah, so a lot of the ones that are good don't have anything interesting or noteworthy about
Yeah,
them. It's just
exactly,
like
that's
a
how they
normal
should
battle
be,
plan.
like-
That's why they're good. They don't have anything crazy about them. Like there's like 6 battle plans that are basically they're like a normal battle plan. There's not much to know about them. Like,
No, but that's how it should be.
yeah.
That's
So the 6 you do need to know about if they get put into a battle pack is, or you need to remember at least, there's something odd about this one, is the lurkers below, which is you can't, there's like they're free in a line and you can't control the middle objective unless you control the one on like the border of your territory. And then you can't control the one in your opponent's territory unless you control the middle one.
so it's all about the middle.
so it's like you need to unlock objectives.
So,
Yeah.
So
melee
basically,
army
you have a
versus
big
stuff,
grind
first.
melee army, and you move.
What's
forward.
significant for KO is it means we can't just, if the opponent pushes forwards, we can't just nick behind them and nick their objective.
If they sit on the middle one, and they can leave their home objective empty
Yeah.
because you cannot
Yes.
take it from them.
Yeah.
Whereas
that's
in the
bad, because
past
it's
with these sorts of ones, it's like, oh yeah, we'll just go behind you now.
Yeah, no.
Which is
This one is
I mean,
classic Gotrek.
yeah,
Just
there's
send him straight on a line.
there's a completely same one, but with different scoring, which is like a diagonal Savage Spear, which is head to head.
Yeah, which is
Savage
good.
Spear, Savage Games.
The
Yeah,
1
so
2
that-
1 2 4.
yeah, so that if it would be the same as this one, you could just leave your home objective and your opponent wouldn't be able to take it if you control the
Yeah,
middle.
no.
But
This one, it's not
This
a
one-
good design. I think
no, it's a bad
overall,
design.
and it's terrible for KO.
Mhm.
You're not gonna
And
win a grind war.
it's also a boring one to play probably if you play melee armies because you're just gonna fight in the middle.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
it's one
it's a
big
boring
wash
objective,
pit.
but it's not good for KO.
And it's isn't this the sideways deployment?
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
long
so it's
one?
long-
so you're
long
gonna
one.
spend like 2 turns until you meet in the middle, and it's like the
Mhm.
vice basically, but
Yeah.
worse.
But
Yeah,
it's
but
from the
it's-
beginning of the game.
It's
Everyone
boring.
meets in the middle. Yeah,
It's
no,
boring.
I don't like it.
Battle lines drawn.
Out. throw it out.
Yeah.
Out.
Basically, you can't fly high in Battleplans Draw.
it's-
And
That's
giants
terrible
can kick
thing.
they can kick quarters. That's the most
Yes,
important
but
thing.
yes, because it's like the whole quarter of a table is an objective. For grand strategies, battle tactics, and abilities, which is what lets.
So you guys need new tables.
Yes,
New tables if you play with
you need
Kraken.
to add on. Like
You need tables so you can move a quarter of the table by an inch.
you need 4 squares
stupid.
pretty much.
Or not, so that's bad for KO.
No, and I cannot see this being used because it penalizes some armies.
Yes,
It's too harsh.
And the next one is as stupid in the other way.
Arcanauts
The
get
other
+1
one-
to hit on the entire table though, if they're not in a ship.
Yeah. They're probably dead anyway.
Yes, that is true, but no, it's stupid. Needle's Paths is basically a normal battle plan, and there's some weird
Things in the
teleporting
corners.
which no one can use because you have a unit sitting next to it. So
Yes, but if there isn't a unit sitting next to it, there's shenanigans, especially with us, because you could teleport a ship, and then a unit can get out the ship after teleporting, because that's not a
Almost
move or
like
fly
Sylphin.
high. So you basically
and they get out and then they move.
Almost
yes.
Sylphin.
So everyone else gets to teleport to the corner and be stuck in that 6 inches. We get to teleport and then move a unit 10 inches.
But the thing is,
Or
people are just
more.
gonna sit
Yeah.
one
Stop you
little
teleporting.
MSU Congo line from their home objective to the end,
Mhm.
so you can't go through, and the other ones on the other sides. Yeah, potentially you can, because you can move within 6 and then teleport,
Mhm.
which is important. So you can run to the corner and then teleport and come out on the other side
Mhm.
and then try a charge. But I played it. It just plays like an all battle plan, to be honest.
You just need to have that deck chair unit or units.
Yeah, you have one deck chair unit, and that's it.
You just keep 10 Arcanauts in the corner of the board and just say,
Yeah.
"Cool, you're not doing anything." And what's interesting is the objectives in the corner are within 9 inches, so you can both protect, cap an objective, but also block against. Yeah, so it's just
Exactly.
yeah, that's all it is.
So
Right.
I don't see it as having much play like the mechanic.
Turf War, no
Isn't that the
reserves.
Isn't that a 2 objective ones as well? One in each zone.
Turf War, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Summon units can't shoot or charge, which we don't care about either of those things really, unless you have a Celestial Prime.
Yeah.
Hey.
Interesting. I mean, this is what, knife to the heart, more or less.
Yeah, I hate those type of objectives, like when it's 2 objectives. So boring.
Yeah, not good battle plans because they can be over after. Like, is this one that ends when you have both?
No, I think it's just, I don't know. I haven't looked at it. It's boring. And the next one is probably the most stupid one of them all.
Wow, really?
The Mighty and the Cunning.
I love it. I love it.
So the first thing is that the same objective can be a proving ground more than once, which means you can't play the proving grounds defensively. And you score 2 VP for each Galletian Veterans unit that you kill per turn, and you get an extra VP if they were on our objective. So you can potentially get 3 VPs just for killing one enemy unit.
You're just
Turf War is also the stupid deployment like this.
This is awesome. Oh God, Max, what's going on?
Out of focus.
Well, it's because you've got that blur thing on, so it's like
so there's 2 in the middle.
Do you know why he has the blur thing on? So he doesn't have to clean his house.
Yes.
No, so you don't see.
Max, why don't you just do the show from outside? Max, why don't you just do the show from outside right now?
Because it's midnight here.
What? No, it's not. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. It's beautiful.
You're living in a past.
It's 25 degrees.
Exactly. It's living in the
25 degrees Celsius and sunny here.
You're living in a past, man.
Yeah,
I love the Mighty and the Cunning, not only just in general, but also specifically for KL, because this is a flare pistol's dream, man. This is like, this is like cool. That unit is gonna die. I'm gonna get 3 bonus points, and also whatever objective.
You also automatically give up at least 6 points.
Do you really? Do you really though?
Again,
I mean, and maybe
you're gonna encounter 1 or 2 TVs in the enemy army, so these extra points are moot.
No, it's just what this does is punishes you if you haven't tried to eliminate Galletian Veterans from your list. So, like, if you've got
this one is bounty hunters galore. This battle plan.
if you've got one of those armies where your Galletian veteran units are like 40 wounds for the whole unit, it's not so bad. And then if you've got 3 min-sized battle line units, that's going to be annoying. And if you've got no Galletian veterans at all, you're like, great, I don't have to worry about giving any extra bonus points.
No, this is bounty hunters. Not do they only do extra damage against your TVs?
now they get extra points.
They get extra points as well.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah,
is
but
stupid.
I mean, is there any other army that can protect their Galletian veteran units as good as we can?
No,
Yeah.
we're talking. I think we're talking about in general, I guess. Like this battle plan is if it takes place in tournaments, that TO has no idea what it's doing.
I
can see it, like people putting it in, but I don't see KO playing well on this.
Wow, hey, listen, I'm gonna probably guess that I'm wrong because I'm an idiot, but I think that KO can play very well in this mission.
I think KO can play pretty good on this, but it's still a.
I don't know. It's just.
It depends on your list and whether you got whether you're giving away 6 points by having.
It's so matchup dependent and all that too.
Well, you are giving 6 points up.
Well, not necessarily. If you've only got 2 Galletian veteran units or 1.
Yeah, I'm not playing frigates, Lee.
Yeah, but what if your Galletian veteran unit can be any? But if your Galletian,
you're playing Urbaz, surely.
I'm not playing Urbaz.
Urbaz with none.
So yeah, I'm giving up 6 points. Thank
but
you.
if your veteran units can be anywhere on the battlefield because they never get out of the bow, then I mean.
Because again, this is 4 sideways. No, I don't like this. I don't like battle plans where everything's in the middle.
Oh, as a Nurgle player, I love those missions.
Yeah, I know.
But I think we can score the extra points in this mission quite easily if your opponent hasn't got those massive units. So there's ones that are
the next one is disgusting though in some armies.
Yeah, the next one won't back
one's...
down. If you rally a unit within 6 inches of an objective you control, then
imagine
you
a 4-stack dragon, a 4-stack fly rallying on a fucking fly up.
Yes, and if the unit is Galletian Veterans unit, then they rally on a 4+.
This is just we want to make games quicker. Oh wait, let's put in this so people don't end round 2.
Basically, these 2 here, one of them is like, this is the one that's good for the one battalion, and this is the one that's kind of good for the other battalion because if you're running Conquest, then you're going to be having the really big tanky massive units, aren't you?
It's good that you left out all the good battle plans. The other ones that we're not showing here, people don't know are actually pretty good. Most of them.
Most of them are fun.
This is nothing to know about them, though, is it? It's just like you just kind of.
But that's why they're good.
The other ones are good. I mean, the one what is it? Where the middle one explodes and goes to do different spots. That's pretty neat.
I think there's one that is exactly the same as what was the one I loved in 2.0. It came in DHB 2020. It had forcing the hand. There's one that is pretty much exactly.
Yeah, I played that today with the weird L-shaped deployment. Measuring the deployment zone for that one is a bitch.
Yes, but other than that, the battle plan itself is really nice.
Pro tip for all army factions out there. I always bring with me maybe a 10-foot long. I guess I'm sorry, 3 meters. Okay, a 3 meter long piece of yarn or string, and then use that to map out my deployment zone. So then I don't have to use a string of dice or whatever. So I just
what are you doing? Hammering little pins and then twisting the string around and getting it nice and taut. You've got this wiggly line of string.
What are you talking about? You just lay it out and then you just lay it out over the battlefield.
This is the floppy tape measure. This is the guy at the tournament I saw on the stream, and he had the tailers.
I've got one of those, and I've never used it in the game. I thought, this would be handy if I want to move a unit on a curve.
I've
never used it.
Man.
But I wouldn't
just put down sticks.
I don't know. I mean, hey, you have your system.
He's American,
I have my.
Yeah, I mean, we're using metric system here. I don't know what you guys are using.
Yeah, but we're playing in inch, so okay.
Do you know what?
That's true.
6-inch and 9-inch measuring sticks, and I just put them down.
Yeah.
Because then they sit in between the terrain, which is always going to be in the way of your string.
Especially now after FAQ and you played Dwarves, if you don't have a 4-inch stick, you're not playing the game correctly.
I especially for Worlds where I used an entire army moving 4 inches. These clear measuring things they give you in the boxes.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
the cheap
I
one.
cut,
I cut off that at 4 inches. That's my 4-inch
Yeah,
ruler.
and,
use that
and
for
I
everything.
actually have a 5. And the good thing about that, when you play dwarves, you always roll 1 under 1 roll, so you get those free 5-inch. You get free 5-inch fixes as well. So
Yeah.
it's
I always
perfect.
just use my combat gauge, and then just for Arcanauts at least, you put it in front, and then you just move the base to the opposite side of it, because the base is literally just slightly under an inch, isn't it?
Yes.
For Arcanauts, so you just jump over the combat gauge.
I'll
No.
use my twine. You all use whatever weird sticks that you're
twine.
cutting
You're
up in.
such-
No.
such a-
I mean, having a 4-inch stick when you play dwarves a lot is the best thing.
If only Kyle was here, he would back me up on this because he
Because he's
told me
American.
he told me that was a good idea.
Because he's American,
Okay.
right?
Next
It's
topic.
been nice. Is the next topic endless spells? Yes, endless spells.
Here we go.
Oh,
Here we go.
Okay,
Do we have that much
so-
time?
We already
Yeah, I
picked
mean,
3 of them to talk
this
about,
endless spell we can discuss on our plus alone.
probably.
So this endless
Um,
spell in armies that have proper casters where I can control it, I love it.
We have
Hey,
the best
uh,
caster in the game.
Crondis.
Well,
Crondis or a
No,
+2
our-
Vampire Lord.
I sent you a list, Lee, that I actually playtested now, and my opponent wanted to quit the game after that match. And a rent-free
Well,
Ironclad.
to make it short, basically it gives extra rend to your ship.
and to
It's-
everything else.
Yeah, it is hard to
Spell.
get out unless you play Zilfin, because it's a
Hmm.
19-inch thingy, almost 19-inch threat range. So you set up with an 8, you move another 8, and then it's
And then it's
everything
6
within
inches.
3. No,
Well,
you want
depend-
the 3 for the 1s and 6 for the -1
Yeah.
save.
And you can slay models in a 1.
Yeah, the
Yes.
slay models is nice to have. So
I mean, it's so stupid. Why a god tier unit is just being removed by a fucking purple
oh, I
ball.
love that. I remove flies daily with this thing.
Can I take this opportunity to clear up one thing that I have seen so many places across different KO things? If you pop an endless spell out of a bottle, you don't the chemist cannot
no.
control it.
No,
It is
unfortunately.
It is automatically wild,
Yeah,
which
so-
means that you take the first opportunity to move wild endless spells. So you
Yes.
control it on your turn. Your opponent can control it first on their turn. So just
It's
just
risky.
clear-
I find it
yes.
risky.
Clearing that up.
They don't
I find-
control it, but they can move it.
they can
Because there's a
move.
difference between control and move. But
Yeah,
again, I
and
should have
never
included the rule to bring up on screen here, because basically most people read the first part of the rule and then don't continue reading to the bit about wild endless spells and how you move those. Basically,
But that-
we can move it in our turn.
Yes,
And
but
then
which
only
is
moves it.
so this can, as proven by Alex Cron, you can cast
Yes.
this out and it can come
This is
back
why
and,
he's not on the
and
show.
slay
'Cause he's
your,
in
your
bed.
ironclad.
He's
He's in hiding. He's
He
in
knew.
hiding.
No, but
You should
seriously,
just not tell us
I
things.
think this thing here, as I think, like, I haven't tried it, but I think you can see playing like aggressive double Ironclad list, Sylphin maybe, and stuff like that. I think it has a very big risk of backfiring in KO by
Yes.
itself.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I don't like spending 70 points on a thing I cannot control, like for
No,
more
but
turns.
as I'll send you the list, Lee,
Man.
with the
Mhm.
Crondis list, with
Yes,
Ironclad.
Crondis with +4, sure.
Yeah.
But we're talking KO here.
Oh, this is gonna be in my double ironclad Kronspine list for
Mhm.
sure.
No, yeah, but however, though, that list I play tested it, Lee, and it was nasty.
I can't remember what was in it.
Since
I just
we don't
knew
know what
it
the
was
list is.
Crondis to get things
Ironclad as
yeah.
well.
Crondis and the Purple Sun to double
Ironclad.
-1 save. Well, yeah, obviously,
so,
because you need something to do some shooting after you put
and
something
a
on
lot of
-2 to
pistoliers.
save.
Hurricanum and a lot of with Hawkeye and a lot of Pistoliers.
Oh, so you have the that was it with Pistoliers. Yeah.
That's so I sit
Did
here.
you? When you tested it in the end, did you put the Pistoliers in Bounty Hunters or not?
No, I did not.
No.
They
Okay.
can't.
Lower
Oh,
it.
yes,
Back
you
to
can.
the
Yeah,
Purple
good
Sun.
thing. Yeah.
Why is this good? Because you need a 9 to dispel it. Your
Yes.
opponent needs a 9, so it's similar to the Warp Lightning Vortex, which also
Oh.
was cast on an 8.
The main
but
reason why it's good
I
is
don't
the
like-
thing we've been complaining about for a year, which is save stacking and only having Rend
That's
1.
why I bought Iron Rex.
It is very dangerous. It's very risky. This might be a reason, because you're gonna see this everywhere on every table, because it's too good of a spell. To bring Voidstone Orb encounters, even Rune Lords, to get rid of this thing,
Yeah.
to stop it from eating your ship.
Or not just eating your ship, just removing another save from your ship so it dies even faster.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
it's just the roll of 1 for everything in
Yeah.
your ship. So you can easily lose your admiral. You can lose the ship. You can.
And
Don't
do you
be
know
Alex
do
Tron.
you know the fun thing though? Do you know the fun thing? You roll a 1 on the ship, and then you have to roll. First, you have to roll a 1 on all the other ones in the ship, and afterwards, after the ship dies, you have to roll another one time for a 1 on those.
If they
survive.
get out within 3, if they get
Okay,
out
well-
outside of 3 of it, then you go.
No,
I'm
you
very
still
good
have-
at
when your
rolling ones.
When your ship dies, you have to roll a 1.
Yeah, when
If-
you
if the-
yes.
Yes, but not for the sun.
No, but the sun will happen before.
It
Yes,
only
but then
affects-
you don't start with the ship when you rolled for the
No,
save.
it's the same it's the same sequence.
Okay. What I mean is
it doesn't affect every unit within range.
it does.
It does.
Okay, it's each unit within 3 inches.
Within 3. So I mean, if you start, okay, I'm gonna roll your ironclad. I roll a 1. It's slain. Then, as you say, you roll for the people inside the boat if they die or not.
That's what I.
But
that's
if you
what I
then
meant.
set them up within 3 inches
No,
on the other side of the boat,
It's the same.
they're
sequence, though.
outside of the sun, and then you don't
but
get to roll for them.
all the suns that you roll for 1 happens before the ironclad row gets removed because it's the same sequence.
No.
Isn't it? It's the same.
You roll. So the clever thing to do is I'm gonna roll for your heroes first, and
It's
then
not the same-
last
it's-
I'm gonna roll for your ship. And if the ship dies, you roll again for all the heroes.
Isn't it the same sequence though?
No, you go one after the other. And I
Alright.
choose controlling the sun. I choose the sequence. So
All right.
I'm
I mean,
gonna
I'm
start
not an
with.
expert on Purple Sun yet, but all right.
No,
But
yeah.
still,
I
it's,
mean-
it's that if it was just for reminder save, it was still real good. But the one rolling.
Yeah,
for
that's
one,
an extra which can be
Yeah.
potentially game changing.
Yeah.
like I tagged your more crushes to remove some save, and I wanted us to remove the save.
But again, I don't like a thing I cannot use multiple times, and it's dangerous to myself. And
Yeah.
So this is to get in range. I need to do more or less an alpha in Zilfin, and then
I run like double ironclad. with
potentially I only get to tag screens or shoot screens.
Yeah. The FAQ has made this better because at least you can fly high and then actually then move out of the way of it after you've. But you can't get too far away because you want to be able to shoot the thing it's flown over.
Well, you move it
and you wanna
16
shoot it.
inches. It's like it's
You
16
want-
inches away from you, and it moves 8, so
Yeah.
you're gonna be safe even if you stay where you are.
You wanna
Like,
you wanna use the carbines. So, but it's still too risky, and it's gonna see
It's
play,
too
but
risky.
it's gonna see play. But you're also investing quite a bit to get it.
Yeah, here's the thing: is if you want to take this, you either have to take if you're going to do Zilfin, because if not, you're not going to get proper use out of it.
Or Mornar with a low drop.
And if you do Zilfin, then you've got to take either 2 chemists, or you've got to take command entourage.
Yeah, so you're 4 drops.
Yeah. So if you care about drops, then it's kind of awkward to put in.
Yeah, but at the same time, it has a decent threat range though. Still, like it's like you don't have to drop it turn 1.
No, I think the better players.
But then there's a big target on your chemist.
Yeah,
wasn't it the same with my? I mean, I run
Vortex.
Bridge.
No, yeah,
I ran Soulscreen Bridge with chemist, but I for so long, and I usually never had a problem. But the problem with this one, with the Soulscreen Bridge, you have a bit bigger threat range than this one. So
that's got a bigger threat range as well because it's moved to 25.
Oh yeah, I just made a quick note here. I had Kronlis in the middle of a board on a diagonal map, and I had the Drakes in one corner. I bridged them from one corner to the other one, which we discussed. Because that's 48 inches pretty much.
Cool.
So, I don't think this is too good in a KO army, but expect to see this against you.
You're gonna see it everywhere. Night Taunt especially.
Unless they do an FAQ and change that rule.
Night Taunt love this spell.
Yeah, because they're getting -1 to save as well from like charging and stuff. And,
no, but they don't care about getting -1 save because you can't modify their save because they're Ethereal.
Yeah.
That's why.
So it's just like they're already getting -1 saves to enemy stuff. It's making them even more powerful. And they don't care about hitting them back.
They don't care about.
The purported thing about this spell, it's not enemy units, it's units.
Yeah.
So
what I was saying is they can already give -1 saves out, and it stacks.
Yeah, but it's just,
Yeah.
as can rend. So it's
Yeah.
Yeah, but
But they don't
it-
have
the
much
benefit
rend.
for them is
Well,
that it doesn't affect
the
them.
hero does.
That's what he means.
so they can pretty much charge in close to it without.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can just sit next to it all day.
And even if it
Well, they
slays
can
a
still
ghost,
reroll
they don't care.
models, but
Yeah,
remove
but
models.
they're
but
restless.
They don't care
they
because
bring
they
back
can
models.
replenish it. They bring him all back.
As long as their heroes aren't
Yeah.
within.
Okay,
It's an
next
amazing
spell.
spell. I expect us to see it everywhere.
Yes.
Guys, let's move on. Next spell.
Ravenak's
Ooh, I
Gnashing
just had-
Jaws.
Oh, I like this one.
Yeah, I like this one too. I've just had it played with today.
This is the one you like if you're Big Johnny.
You like
Because
I like it
punch-
because it can do a lot of mortal wounds, especially with 2 navigators. So you quarter someone's move and then you throw this at their head. However, I don't like endless spells in KO because it's the one use thing.
But
Mhm.
however, this one is kind of easier to use with an Arcane Tome because it's only 6
Yeah,
cost.
cast on a 6.
Yeah, true.
So
On the
I
flip side,
actually,
it casts on a 6, so it's quite easy to dispel for them.
Yes.
That's
But then you
at
just
the-
cast
at
it
the
again.
same- Yes, but at the same
Yeah.
time, the good what Max just said. If you're facing a big monster, let's say it doesn't have a spell track, so let's not say Archeon because he has a spell track. But let's say something you face like a
Maw
Maw
Crusher.
Yeah, you put this move to 3.5, let's say 3, and then you do this thing, and then
And you
if
roll a
when you
12.
cast- yeah, and the good thing when you cast it, you can re-roll. You haven't mentioned it. You can re-roll the
Yep.
time the round it is casted, or the hero
The
gets
first time you set it up, you can re-roll the move. Yeah.
so you can fish. So
Yeah.
you can do so many mortals with this one. Also,
So you
if
hope
you're
for
facing-
an 11 or a 12, and then
yeah.
boom,
Also,
9
what you
mortal
said,
wounds.
what you said, Matthew, is like if they're gonna unbind it. Let's say it's an Iron Dose army, they're gonna waste 1 unbind, or they can use a heroic action, sure. But yeah. So I think it's pretty good.
This thing is pretty good.
It's safe. It's safe.
But
as
it's
well.
in a KO army, unless you bring Arcane Tomes or other heroes, it's a one trick thing. And I'm
Mhm.
not sure if I want to spend 60 points plus a spell in a bottle
I
and
mean,
the,
it's
and
pretty-
a- and the chemist
much-
on that.
It's pretty much what the points you dropped in my normal KO list, almost. So
Yeah, but I
I'm
need
gonna-
a chemist, I need an artifact, and I need this for
Yeah.
one,
might not-
8,
I might
9
not-
mortal wounds once per
I
game.
might not even run with a spell in a bottle with it. I don't know.
I think
Probably not.
I think I would much rather just spend the 10 extra points to get the Purple Sun. If you're just, if I'm being honest.
It can backfire so hard, man.
But I
But
see. I don't know if it
it's
can because like
good.
once you pop it and you move it 8, or set it up with an 8, and then you move it 8. Even if your opponent decides to move it back 8 directly past you, it's not even close to affecting you. And then you're just like, cool, whoop, I'm over here now.
It would.
Or you get double
If
turn.
you just if you don't move your ship away from
If
where
you-
you did,
if you
because
get
of the
double, you
base
can move
size
it.
of it, if you move it 8 away and then it gets moved 8 back, it will be within 6 of your ship because the base size is like 2.5 inches wide.
The important
from
thing
that
is not
point.
being within 3 of it.
Yeah, that's the
Right.
most important thing.
That's
I mean,
key thing.
it's gonna see play. We probably need to experience. I haven't experienced it with KO yet. I just played with it with the ground KO Skyport Tempest Eye. But it's when you have Kronus controlling it, it's amazing because he has 4
yeah.
plus.
You need, if you play Sun, you need a reliable high cast. So yeah, Krondis or whatever, whoever gets +2 or +3 checklist.
He will be +4 Kronus on it. So
Yes. Or I don't like. I like the idea. Hey, you cannot stop this, but I hate the idea. I cannot control it.
but
This goes for all endless
like
spells.
you guys should try a rent-free Ironclad. It's a thing of beauty.
I think the thing with
I was gonna mention Kronus has its own spell as well, which reduces enemy save by 1.
yes,
So,
yeah. The thing with the jaws is it's going to be really disappointing when you do the really bad movement rolls for
but
it.
you can
Why I
reroll
never
it.
bring a
You
vo-
reroll it.
That's why I never bring the volley cannon.
You
Oh,
reroll it, Lee.
Dude, volley cannons. You have not lived unless you play double volley cannons.
It sounds
Double.
amazing when you're doing against a flying unit, but when there's not flying units around,
I mean, it's not gonna be what it's just it's a fun techie piece.
But then you use it against the normal infantry with move 5,
Yeah.
move 6, and it's still gonna kill 3,
Yeah.
4, 5 models.
So it's always gonna have use. It's not like it's always gonna have use.
But important to note, this is on a 2+. So I had my opponent play this today against my half move Blood Knights. He rolled 16 on the move, so it would have been
Where the Blood Knights
11 mortal wounds,
11.
and then he rolled a 1. and it didn't do
Were the
anything.
Blood Knights flying or why?
No, they have 10, and they have to move with a spell, so move 5,
Oh.
and then he rolled a 16, so 11 mortal wounds. So almost four Blood Knights, and then he rolled a 1.
Well, what I had in the game I played, I killed in my turn. I killed the High Gladiatorius, and then the other when it was his turn, he didn't manage to dispel it, and I killed the Hag Queen. It was quite funny.
Yeah, so it's potentially good, this one. Yeah.
Cool. And then the last one is more of a cautionary tale.
Mm-hmm. These things are harsh.
Because I mean, they kind of work the same way they did in the fact that you don't move them. They have like this
but
thing where
really though, you can just unbind it in your hero phase. It's a 5 to cost.
True. Yeah, because you pick one up and you move it, you set it up within 12 inches of the other one, and basically anything you draw a line between them, anything that gets passed by that line. But they can't do a lot of stuff. They're half move, which means this could also, if you could combo it with like, it'd be very difficult to KO. You'd have to have it.
Yeah, for KO, but in general.
Yeah, the Nugget
spell in
player
a
combo
bottle.
this with the jaws.
Yeah. They can't fly, and then they also can't be removed to then be set up later in the turn. So basically, they just can't teleport, which means it blocks fly high.
Yeah,
Does
it blocks
it
fly
remove-
high until the end of turn.
Does it remove the flying keyword? No.
Well,
It just
yeah,
says
I mean, it's
you
not really a
cannot
keyword,
remove
is it? It
and
just
set
says you
up.
can't fly.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I mean that's for navigator purposes.
It would be a timing thing, wouldn't it? Like, because it's
it one
they
overrides
You
can't
move this
fly.
end of hero phase. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But the thing
you
with
just do the
these is
navigator
that
first.
you put them within 18, and then you just take one away and set it up anywhere else. So you don't move the other part. You just set it up anywhere else within 12. So you potentially you can. This is very versatile to use. It's pretty big bases. And what's important to note that this
You can create huge
effect
zones with
ends
it, right?
at the end of the turn.
Yeah.
So if your opponent does this, and then he says, "Oh, I'm gonna half move you," end of his turn, your turn, you're free to move unless he still gets to move it or you didn't dispel it.
So where's the half move coming in play? Just
If you
damage.
combo it with Jaws.
Yeah, but it's a huge area though, as you said. So
yeah, you can cover entire boards with this thing. Like it's very easy to reach everyone anywhere with this thing.
The stopping fly is neat, but I think if you're going for the effect of half move, I think the Realm Scourge Rupture is still the superior spell.
I mean, it doesn't stop fly in his face because he can, as you said, it just lasts until
it ends. Like the effect ends at the end of the turn you set them up. So where this is dangerous for you if he gets to move it again in your hero phase.
Mm-hmm.
And as Mac said, this is cast on a 5. So you do a heroic action and dispel it on a 6.
Yeah.
Like
It's
not as dangerous as
roll
you think.
below a 6.
You can
It's not as dangerous.
you can spend a navigator gold if you feel unsecure to just get re-roll on that dispel.
It's not as dangerous as you think, this thing, unless they combo it with Jaws and stuff like that.
No, and this is actually, we probably should have mentioned the new Prismatic Palisades. It's a similar thing to this, but it's the same thing. It's such a low casting value. It's like, well, we just, heroic action.
But the Palisade is
Unbinder.
important because it's an anti-unleash hell tech.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm going to protect myself.
So is Geminids. So I mean, there are more of those. So is Geminids.
Yeah. So and then it's a bit difficult.
I think I would
so
say Geminids even better because people can't use all out defense versus Geminids in shooting phase. So.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Geminids dropped a lot in points, right?
So yeah, Palisade is even, I think, more dangerous than this.
Yeah, I think if you wanna, but I think Geminids is even. Oh, if they use against you, yeah.
Yeah, if they use it, and even if they set it up anywhere in their territory, say, well, if you fly over here, or if you're within 6, you cannot shoot.
Because I feel Geminids can be useful for KO as well, but it's not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So
with all these end spells, what do we think about Barak Nar, where every hero gets a +1 to unbind?
Still not worth
Still
it.
rubbish. It's still rubbish.
Making your Thunderers Galletian Veterans as well, if you want to run Thunderers. Dies even faster.
Yeah, but you can run 15.
Yeah, which will die faster than 10.
Yeah, it's a bit sad that Barknar is not as good because the whole command points thing is
Oh
stupid.
yeah, that's this
It's
the
first
software,
turn
so-
only.
Well,
And
they
the
are
battle shock-
losing. They are losing power in the council, so they are losing seats.
Yeah.
So it's on brand.
True.
I mean, yeah, unbind one spell. It's not even this spell. It's just unbinding. Yeah, no.
And also,
Yeah.
I think one problem for KO, as you raised with the Voidstone Orb, is like there's gonna be a lot of more strong casters in the meta now. I think
That's the thing. Like,
yeah.
if they're gonna play Sun, they're gonna bring a +2/+3 auto cast stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, like,
Reroll.
well, I'm talking
with
about in
cogs.
general. Like, having Voidstone Orb is gonna be quite big, and even teching, maybe sometimes even depends on meta evolves. Even teching into a Knight Encounter plus Voidstone Orb, have two of them.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It could be good because KO suffers from magic. So
I mean, a Knight Encounter's a pretty good ally because it's kind of like getting multiple.
yeah, you can cast a Mystic Shield on the ship as well or something. So.
Yeah, it's like getting Arcane Tome and Voidstone Orb in the same list.
I love it in Mornar where you're already having a charge and then -1. It's freaking awesome.
What is it?
Oh, yeah, his spell.
125
His
points.
spell is an 18-inch range, -1
know.
to charge. It's
And run.
awesome.
You make it an area, right? It's 18, hold within 18 of him, right?
Yes.
A range of 18. If there's a cast, subtract 1 from run and charge rolls for enemy units within range.
So good.
Yeah, so he's like a big debuff piece. With all of them. He's great for
Yeah.
125 points. As you said in Monarch,
125. Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah.
With an
I see that-
unbind scroll, and like I said, I'm usually running a multiple way. I really like right now. I played a couple of games on TTS, not too recently, but with this max control build in Mornar with the Realm Scourge Rupture, the Incanter, double Navigators, and then
sure,
I
it
want
has a lot of control, but doesn't have the damage. That's the problem usually.
Yeah, that's my problem with Warner as well.
with double Ironclad, yes, and then soon to test out with a Kronspine in the mix.
You will
That's
still
a lot of
suffer
points.
versus safe stacking lists, but
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
but the thing with safe stacking lists, or at least now in the second part of 3.0, in the beginning it was all about safe stacking, but the second part it diminished a little bit. It was not as much, so
No, and
I mean, it's still there. That's
yeah, it's
the
still
only
there.
part.
I mean, every army has something that will be hard for us to kill because it will be on a free up save. But yeah, I mean, it's not as bad as it was in the beginning.
yeah. And the thing is with the Purple Sun is it kind of does what the Admiral can already do for us to an extent.
Not
No.
really, because
It does it differently, but
yeah, because what I run, like as I discussed last time I was on the show, like I like running the 9 Wardens and buffing them to high heavens.
Mhm.
They were my new, like before the White Dwarf, I ran Iron Drakes for the same purpose, but you had to get quite close and so on, and Wardens could do it for much cheaper investment, 315 points.
you
Plus
don't
an
need
Admiral.
all the other bits.
Yeah, it's just those, and maybe you have the Flare Pistol for extra juice, which you already had anyway. And like, what I like about the Rend is you don't have to roll for it.
Yeah.
And them fully buffed, pretty much delete most centerpieces if they're not safe stack to high heavens. So, but yeah, I feel like, as you said, but with the Purple Sun, if you run double Ironclad, I think Purple Sun can be quite nice.
Is the main difference is it can buff it. It doesn't buff the ship because it debuffs the enemy, but you know what I mean. It benefits the ship, whereas the Admiral can't.
That's the funny thing about Admiral, though. Like his run and shoot is on the
in the ship.
So it's like he has an identity crisis. Do I want to support the melee guys or do I want to support ships?
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think I might have used the run and shoot thing once.
Yeah, but I haven't used it much at all because I run the charging Ironclad, not what to charge when I shoot. Or actually, I use the shoot, but he's. I think, as I said, Purple Sun. Purple Sun is. I will only use Purple Sun as with a spell in the bottle if I run double Ironclad.
I think the thing is with Purple Sun is if you tech into that and you have an Admiral, is you're just going to feel you're going to be a sad panda if you play against Nighthawk.
You don't run Admiral in a double iron. You don't run Admiral in a double iron list, do you?
Yeah.
You do. I
You do. You have to remove the Warden versus a lot of armies, right?
Well, Nurgle, yes.
Yeah.
Fire Slayers, Gotrek.
Yes. Oh yeah, Gotrek. I mean, oh yeah, that's a fun spell though. Quicksilver Sword is just a Gotrek killer.
It's no, I mean, I like an Admiral and double ironclad because it's just your 4 flies have no ward and boom, they're gone.
Yeah. Plus now when he can get out of the ship, then I can definitely.
Yeah. No, Admiral is pretty good even in double iron.
Yeah, because he can now he can get out of the ship and actually charge into something as well if he wants.
Even if he stays in the ship, even if having the ship run and shoot because otherwise you can't get range.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, he's good.
I've done that. I have done that in games.
I haven't played double ironclad after the White Dwarf update, so I played at Worlds and it went pretty well. But he's
good. I think Admiral is
him
one
and
of the things I like.
Him and 2 navigate through the starting point when you build a list.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay.
Cool. So I think we covered everything other than some some lists or something, which I don't think we have time for. So
I think we also with this new edition we need some time to see a bit where the journey goes. Are people really playing all bounty hunters? Are they all playing Sun?
We need the meta to develop a bit, especially when you're thinking about drop count. Because you're like, well, probably don't need to be 1 drop, but it's like, well,
I don't think
3 drop.
1 drop is
4.
1 drop is overrated.
1 drop is pretty dead unless it's 60 Sentinels and techless builds.
But the reality is, if you're not going 1 drop, it's like then you start looking at 3 drop, but then you're like, right, if I go to 4, I can get this. But then if you're 4 drop, that could potentially be a massive difference.
As we discussed in the meta, what's more, I think, like as we discussed, like having the access like Voice Stone Orbits in addition in the new meta, I think it's like going to be worth more than running a 1 drop.
Yeah, I don't think 1 drop is necessary. I think even if you're 3 drops, you still get choice 90% of the time.
But yeah, I mean, having stuff like an extra Voice Stone Orb or something is just huge.
So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying you need to be 1 drop. I'm saying we don't know what drop count you need to be low enough.
The standard is going to be 3. The standard is going to be 4, 3 to 4.
Yeah, standard will be 4 because people want to bring either 2 conquerors or 2 bounty hunters plus the rest. So,
yeah, but they could do that with 3 drops, couldn't they?
They
could, 2 bounty hunters and a battle regiment.
Yeah.
And that's where we need to find out is exactly what sort of levels people are.
So I'm playing a lot of 4 drops recently, and I always get choice.
Yeah.
So
there's certainly going to be a lot less 1 drops.
4 drop is
usually.
I think 4 drop is the new 1 drop, like it was in past. It's so annoying, as you said, Matt. Why is it called season 1? I'm trying to say past season, but what are we calling the past year?
2020.
Yeah, I know because
21. Yeah,
that was the first time we heard. That was the first time we heard the term season. So that was season 0, season prime.
Season.
Season infancy.
Yeah.
All right, you beauties.
I want to take this opportunity to apologize / be insanely proud of all the people who came into the chat and there I see some other comments here that are not necessarily Warhammer or KO related. So I tried to advertise the show on a couple of different areas of my group chats, and it seems they answered the call.
Well, it was a pleasure to have them.
People, if you like maths, physics, leave a like. There's a what was it? Matt can nurgle my army any day.
Oh God.
That Matt Barker is one man beast. So leave a like for more Matt in the future.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks to Matt and Max and Mac.
How hard was that to say?
I had to think about it. Thanks, guys.
We have any tournaments coming up for any of you with KO?
I did have a tournament coming up in August, which has been cancelled. unfortunately, because
Aw.
they
Because
worked
Boris
out
left.
because Boris was running it, and it was he won't have access to number 10 anymore. So,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
no,
the
no
venue
more,
he won't
no
have
more
the
party
keys
gates.
for.
So Lee is responsible for this because the party gates were actually playing Warhammer at the
Yes.
10
I
10
bet.
Yes, up until the wee hours of the morning in number 10, pushing war dollies around.
Yeah. Poor Boris. What
Yeah.
was Boris playing? Boris feels like a Nurgle player.
I am going to.
No, he's
Boise-
destruction.
Oh,
He
yeah,
is
he's
like
destruction.
he is just
Mega
pushing.
Pushes Gargants around.
Gargants around. Right.
my tournament season is about to start heating up here and not stop for quite a while. I've got Boise Cup at the end of the month. I've got a local GT in Irvine, California in August. I'll be going to the Nova Open in Washington, D.C. in September. I'll be going to the SoCal Open in October. I'll be going to the Las Vegas Open in January, and there's sure to be a smattering of RTTs locally in there. So the second half of my year is starting to.
You really planned ahead. I'm usually
You are so organized. I don't even know what I'm
Yeah.
doing next weekend.
Hey, listen, I'm a big proponent of the ITC. So I am trying to plan out my ITC point farming as we go.
Yeah, I'll have a 1-dayer next Saturday, but I'm playing Soulblight. And then I have a 2-dayer the week after, and I'm unsure what to play. Either KO or the Soulblight. I'm not sure.
Me.
And then I had a 2-dayer in August, but I might need to cancel it because I have another prep weekend for the Worlds team for next year.
Yeah,
Or
I was gonna say
in
World
August.
Prep.
And
but
then
you
in
men-
September I have a 3-dayer.
Yeah, you mentioned something. You mentioned something. Was it September, October that you wanted me to attend to?
Yes, the Raccoon Rumble in Castle is a 3-day event. 6 games.
You talked about that one.
Yeah, it already has over 100 tickets sold. So that's pretty exciting. I think it's the biggest tournament we'll have in Germany so far. And yeah, it's gonna be great fun because I'll arrive back from a business trip from Japan on Friday morning, and then I'll with a jet lag, and I'll have to play my first match Friday afternoon. So that will be great.
Getting your excuses in early.
The start of the great weekend. Yeah.
Can I start a campaign to get one of you guys to come out for the Las Vegas Open in January?
You can, and then you need to check with my wife, and if you can convince her, sure.
What is it? I mean, what do I have to pay for a flight? Like whatever. I would love that.
I could come.
Dude,
January, you said.
It's
January.
January, the Las Vegas Open, a wonderful time to visit Vegas because it's just not 170 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, it's a great time, and especially if you like blackjack or slot
Yeah, I
machine.
was about to ask, are you allowed to gamble with your war dollies? Like, all right, I'm all in with my KO army here.
That is
Yeah.
the
Bring your weighted dice.
Yeah, that is the least debaucherous thing that happens at the Las Vegas. I mean, it literally takes place inside of a casino. So I saw somebody and their opponent's turn run over and go play.
So it's not like the World's Avenue.
So has there
next year
ever
is gonna be
been
great.
someone that
Where is
couldn't
it
play
next year?
day 2 because they gambled their army and lost it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as a KO player, that makes a bit sense, right?
Yeah.
Make profit.
If any of you come to the Las Vegas Open this year, I got a couple of games of blackjack on me.
All right.
Sounds dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're playing a dwarf, like you like the risks. But yeah, for myself, if you don't want to go first, Lee, with the tournaments.
No, you go ahead.
I got a bit worn out after Worlds, because it was like 11 games.
It's a lot. A lot of Warhammer.
In 5 days. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of games. Especially was it Friday when the air condition didn't work? Holy shit. Yeah, that was like
Sunday when warm water didn't work.
Well, I lived at the suite in the center at 70s.
Ah, well then, stop complaining. Come on.
So
you didn't live the full experience.
Yeah, I didn't have the full experience because I lived like a king in the center of Prague, and during the days I went to this, I don't know, Soviet Union building that where
Yeah,
Max
it was
lived.
a great hotel. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the event was great. Anyway, upcoming tournaments, like I have a TTS tournament. I won a TTS tournament when I came back from Prague, went 5-0, and I have to play in the follow up on that one since I'm the reigning champion. I have to play, I guess. So, but in real life tournaments, I don't have.
Are you going to the one in October in Malmö?
Maybe.
I bought tickets for that, so I might be there.
Yeah. I might play. I was supposed to play one in July, but I'm working a lot, so it's gonna be hard. So not a busy schedule for real time tournaments right now. As Max said, I'm probably gonna start doing more in the autumn to prepare for next year's Worlds. Might go to Six Nations as well. But nothing locally and nothing major planned right now, apart from the major stuff. And now I have something planned. January, Las Vegas Open, right? So.
Oh, yes. My wife told me that if our first trip to Europe is because I'm involved in a tournament there, she's going to kill me. So I have to take her to Europe first, and then I can come over and start playing in all your tournaments.
Take her to Greenland. That's technically Europe.
Yeah, true. True. Yeah. So I mean, I haven't got much planned because I was only going to do one like tournament I have to travel to this year because of paying for 2 weddings. Both mine, by the way. I'm not paying for someone else's wedding.
Let's be clear: 1 woman, 2 weddings, though.
Yes, 1 woman, 2 weddings.
Really, that's disappointing.
Yes. So yeah, but that's the one that's just been cancelled. So now I need to look. So now I have a freebie that I can go to, like, because we agreed I go to one that has travelled to. So I need to find one that doesn't conflict with the dates of the wedding, isn't like the week before or something. Or
September 16.
What's that?
Oh, we should meet up in Germany.
Yeah, let's all meet there. It's free. Come on, it's worth the trip because it's 3 days.
I would love to visit Germany. Just a side note.
Where in Germany was it?
In the Dead Center in Kassel.
Oh, in Kassel. Yeah. All right, that's not too far from me.
Just seems like a beautiful country that I would love to visit, regardless of Warhammer. But anyway, continue, Lee. Sorry.
Yeah, so I haven't got any big tournaments planned. There's potentially a teams tournament that literally got announced today. So I might be going to that, where I need to figure out whether I have like a group of 4 mates and it's a teams of 3. So we have to work out who's not going to be the one going.
Oh yeah, I have a TTS team tournament in August. It's quite a big one on TTS. If people want to check it out.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, and of course there will be one day local events, but they haven't been announced for a while. But they will. There's like they're quite regular. There will be some fairly soon, I'd imagine.
What's your goal, Lee? You're gonna take them out and win them all?
For what the one day is, or what?
Everything.
Everything.
Well, hello, doggy.
The dog.
I don't know. The sausage.
It looks like I was about to say. It looks like a sausage.
It's very cute though.
I'll be honest. I'm generally happy if I go 3-2. That's kind of okay. That's all right.
I mean, usually my goals for 2 days is usually at least 3-2. Then you're not feeling bad, and my goal is usually 4-1 or 5-0. But like it's, I mean, you shouldn't be disappointed if you go 3-2 because that's at least 60% win rate. So
yeah, exactly. It's positive.
As long as you win more than you lose, then it's a good weekend.
Yeah. My last event was actually a bit disappointing because I had to buy the first game, which was after one day. That was a shame. But yeah, happens sometimes. But yeah, we'll see. I hadn't been looking for events because I had one planned and that was my one. So now I need to actually look. But all the ones that are soon.
We're not like you, Matt, who has his pretty much half year covered already.
Well,
I do the same because I have like allowance to do 1 per month.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm doing
plan ahead.
I do Boise Cup this month. I'm doing Old Town Throwdown in August and Nova. Lee, you should just fly to. It's not that far of a flight from UK to DC for Nova Open in September.
They still have tickets. They sold out.
I'd imagine it is probably quite a long flight. It's going to be like 8 hours.
I'll get you tickets. If you're going to come to Nova Open, I'll get you a ticket.
Will you get the plane tickets?
That's what you talk about when you say. That's what
If you're
you talk
gonna-
about when you say tickets.
If you're going to come to Nova Open, I'll buy your flight.
Seriously.
Oh, yeah, I
you
won't
have
hold
me
you to
out
that.
I might.
I don't mind if you pay the flight. I want to.
All right, guys.
Okay.
So if your people go to any of these events, you can meet
Contact
us
me.
and
Yes.
Yeah.
say
So
hi.
they're
Well.
so short and short. There are events up in Europe, and there are apparently a lot of up in America as well. So we don't know about Australia, but there's always something going down.
There's
under,
always
right?
some events there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure Con mentioned an event the other day. Sure, he did. He was thinking about, planning his list for. Can't remember what it
Especially
was.
for us Europeans, like going to like Germany, which is in. And you said center of Germany, so it's pretty much center.
Yeah, it's
well,
in
quite center
dead
of
center.
Europe. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's not far from people. So.
If it's near an airport, it's
Yeah,
not
I'm not
bad,
sure
is
if there's an airport too close, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Tell you
anyway,
what.
it's not too far.
AOS World singles next year is tempting me because I could get a ferry. That's how
Yeah.
crazy.
Is
it's in
it confirmed to be
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam? Is it
Yeah,
confirmed?
it is. It
Yes.
is.
Ooh,
It's
cool.
well, not Amsterdam. It's Schiphol, but yeah, Amsterdam.
Okay.
So it's a conference hotel on the outskirts.
So it's
of
actually
Amsterdam.
in like the airport.
No,
or is it like
well,
Schiphol's
Schiphol
like
is
the town?
the town. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Why
it's
it's not
very
in the
close to the
center? 'Cause
airport.
I want to stay. I'm probably gonna stay in the center.
You can. I think it's a 15-minute drive.
15 hours.
15 hours.
15.
Oh my!
It is a long
What are
car
you-
drive for me, so I might as well fly, which
Mhm.
makes transporting the army a bit difficult.
15-hour drive. What are you, American?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Yeah.
So
was trying-
if it were in Austria, it would have been like a 3.5-hour drive for me. So that would have been nice.
Hey,
But the place was stupid.
I made the drive from DC to Chicago for Adepticon 1 year. It was about a 14-hour drive. That was one way.
No,
That was
I'd
so
rather
much
fly.
fun. That was so much fun.
Anything beyond 4 hours, I'll just take a plane.
Well, Team Sweden was driving down to Prague, and it was like 14 hours, right?
Yeah, no.
Good
no.
times. Those are the road trips are fun.
No, I took a flight.
Yeah.
Surprisingly,
we're
people
now-
are still
yeah.
listening to this, which
Yeah,
is nothing about KO.
But-
You know, this is like the
Stop
kind of
it.
thing we talk about backstage, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, thanks for
Oh, yeah.
watching.
Lily's mic is dying.
Some
Um,
phone is ringing.
Oh, I think that's mine. I left it next to the microphone. That's stupid. Yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed the show, please hit like and subscribe for more KO and Matt's travel and itinerary content in the future. And also remember to hit like if you like seeing Matt in shows. Apparently, he's like the celebrity. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone, and thanks for joining me, guys.
Bye.
Bye.